Greetings, greetings, greetings. I see you, Brother Bernie. Peace, peace, peace. Happy holy day, everybody. Happy holy day. About to get started in here. Hope y'all all having a good Friday. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me get us with some good background music. Learning how to work this background feature that they got on here. But it does come in handy. So shout out to Clubhouse for doing that. Trying to put it well. All right, so I don't know if y'all can hear it. Can y'all hear it?
Barely. True peace to the room. I can hear it, but it's in the background, like faint.
I'm trying to keep it low.
Yeah. Okay, go back down a little bit more, because I don't want you to try to scream over it, and I don't want it to drown you out either, like that last time.
Right, that's why I was.
That's good right there.
Peace, peacemakers. All right, everybody, shut a room, shut a room. We about to get it started. And like I say, enjoy ourselves on this holy day, Brother Bernie. I don't know if you already followed the room. Click that gray block of words at the top. I think they changed it to black now. But you can click the block of words at the top that say World Temple. Go ahead and make sure you join the room, and then we'll bring you up if you want to come up, Brother Bernie. But we're gonna get into our usuals. First thing first, I want to give honors, high honors to the divine creator, upon with the Allah, the Heavenly Father, and the Divine Mother. And I want to give honors to the Prophet, Noble Drew Ali, who is the pioneer of our ancient and divine creed here in the United States of America, on the continent of America. So that includes not just the U.S., but all nations on the continent of America and all Moorish America. I want to give honors to the forerunner of the Prophet, which is Honorable Marcus Garvey. I want to give honors to Brother Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I want to give honors to Brother C.M. Bay with the Cloak of Destiny, who's the writer of the Cloak of Destiny. I want to give honors to Brother H.I.M Bay, who wrote the Moorish paradigm literature, as well as give honors to those that are, pioneers of other structures that grew out of the Moorish Science Temple of America, such as Clarence 13X, with the gods and goddesses. I want to give honors Yahweh ben Yahweh, who himself also came out of the Moorish Science Temple of America as well. I want to give honors to the master teacher, Dr. Malachi Z. York-El, who was the reformer of all of the black nationalist ideologies and put it into the right knowledge, right wisdom, for the right understanding for us all. But welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome everybody. Happy holy day. Thank you. Y'all could be anywhere in the world, but y'all are here with me tonight. True peace, Brother Brian. Let's get it started. Peace to the gods. All's well?
All is well.
One love, one love. All right, so y'all know how we do. I'm gonna jump straight into the divine supplication, because we have to give our supplication to the divine and our ancestors. Just want to point this out though. When I, because I do my holy days, in the in the outside area where I'm at here. And when I came outside, man, I just seen a circle of cats, like they was congregating, like they was doing their kumbaya session, man. I just had to point that out. I should have took a picture of it, but I'm here doing the session, so I'm just gonna point it out. But that was kind of, you know, kind of highly spiritually, you know, a little awkward there. But let's jump into this divine supplication, y'all, and we gonna enjoy our holy day today. Like I say, y'all can be anywhere in the world, but y'all are here with me, Grand Sheik, Dr. Lawiy, and we are building up our branch temple number 24 of the Moorish Science Temple of America. We are a global branch temple of the Moorish Science Temple of America. We are a chartered and incorporated branch temple of the Moorish Science Temple of America. We're here to teach our people their nationality and their divine creed, so they will be able to link themselves back with the family of nations. So let's jump into this divine supplication, y'all. All right, all right, all right. Y'all know how it go. We begin all thinking and all things by using the all. And an ancient way of saying the all is El Kalum. O Heavenly One, the Most High, who is sustainer of all the worlds, we do accept the duty you have laid on us to clean up the filth made by the West and its non-submitting food. O my sustainer, we beseech you to keep your hand over us to control the strings of the courses of our lives. Our sustainer, and if we do wrong, please show our divine blessings and forgiveness on us. You are the only one that can raise us, true followers of the news bearers, and in our name, we carry on. So true peace, true peace. Go ahead and share the room if you can. Yeah, that was kind of weirdo, Noble. It was a white cat. I know I seen the black cat, and it's this yellow cat that be around here, as well. So that was a weird, you know, a little weird scene. But let's jump right into our 19 affirmations for the night. Peace, brother Bernie. I know he probably wasn't able to stay, but it was good to see you. Let's get into these 19 affirmations, nonetheless. And you can get a copy of the literature. I'm gonna get the store that we have, All Eyes on Ethiopia. I'm gonna get that store fixed because that's actually where we post the literature at. So let me put the temple link on top quick. That way y'all click on the link for the temple and join us and browse around when we start talking about certain things in the temple. But jump right into our 19 affirmations, y'all. Peace, peace. And these are daily affirmations. So if you get a copy of if you can grab a copy of the family guide, then you'll be able to do these daily affirmations yourself. Or you can just go back and play the replays from the room and just listen to the affirmations that way. And we are now officially on YouTube with all of the lectures and sermons. So that's also another thing we got done this weekend to make sure that every sermon from last year up there. We couldn't get the ones from the year 2021. So we did a lot of, you know, good meetups here on Clubhouse, but we didn't get a chance to get those recorded. But nonetheless, we got everything since they've been allowing us to record here on Clubhouse. And you could go listen to that on YouTube. So with that, let's jump into the affirmations of what we accept as fact, the daily affirmation of loyalty of the children of the Elohim. We accept as fact the eternal laws of nature as revealed through science, past events, logic, and common sense, revealed as right knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. We accept as fact the highest laws of nature is the cooperation and harmony of all living things. We accept as fact our way of life as a means to the best end. We accept as fact that loyalty is the greatest of all honors and treason is the worst of all crimes. We accept as fact that what is good for the Holy Tabernacle is the highest virtue and what is bad for the Holy Tabernacle is the ultimate evil. Oh, they just ran up on me. All three of them. It's two black cats and a white cat. That's funny, y'all. What we accept, We accept this fact that the Holy Tabernacle is the finest and noblest organization for all humanity, created by circumstances, and the ancient and mystic order of Melchizedek is the noblest of fraternities on and above this planet. We accept this fact that creativity, love, and cooperation are the essence of success. We accept this fact that truth and facts are always and has always been the originator and creator of all success. We accept this fact that all worthwhile cultures and civilizations came about from the ancient Sumerians and Kamite Egyptians and the Anunnaki, or the Elohims from the heavens, without which there would be none. We accept this fact that for the Holy Tabernacle to survive, expand, and advance, we need, first of all, a revolution of values and thought, which must start within each person by being truthful with themselves and about themselves. Therefore, we completely and categorically reject all myths, fictions, religions, and lies that have not been proven. That would include your heavens, your hells, your hellfires and brimstones, your horn and pitchfork devils, your winged angels, and your old man God character sitting on the throne up there somewhere. We deal strictly with facts. If you can't prove it, we don't want to hear it. That doesn't mean we won't listen to you. Just don't expect us to accept your beliefs by virtue of titles such as Reverend, Pastor, Deacon, Imam, Sheik, Rabbi, Minister, Theologian, etc. That is your sensationalism, and we deal with just the fact. We accept this fact that the only true revolution is a war of good against evil, right against wrong, fairness against unfairness, loyalty against disloyalty, sincerity against insincerity, honesty against dishonesty, and this war is fought within each person among the agreeable and disagreeable Elohims that make up your willpower. We accept this fact that the unity of our community and its success will only happen with cooperation, with all involved. We accept this fact, the total unification of all humanity on the basis of truth, that is, accepting people and races for who and what they are, respecting their culture, their languages, and their beliefs, and expect the same. We accept this fact that the human race's biological and cultural heritage is now under attack by our own morals, our self-righteousness, our desire to control industry, and these things attack the very existence of humanity. We accept this fact that males as well as females are equal in all things and should be dealt with as partners in all matters. We accept this fact that no one race of people is better than the other. In fact, no one wins the race in racism. We accept this fact that communication between different people is the cure to the ignorance that breeds the disease hate. We accept this fact that a good and well-rounded education could prevent most of the ignorance that plagues the world. We accept this fact that the all is just that, the all. You can't take from the all, you can't add to the all. We are all within the all is one. That is our concept of what you call the deity. To the fulfillment of these facts, we children of the Elohim forever pledge our lives, our sacred honor, and our spiritual zeal. True peace, true peace. That is our daily affirmations, y'all. And y'all want to jump into them, with your family daily, if you can, if you had a chance to, especially with us having at least almost 50 sermons up now, and there was actually more than that. I wish we could have got recorded in 2021, like I said, but nonetheless, we here. So let's get into our Moorish prayer and divine constitution and bylaws from the Moorish country of America. And y'all know how it go. Y'all can do the prayer with me. Two fingers up, 5 fingers up, facing the east, feet at a 45-degree angle. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through His holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Amen. All right, y'all, so let's jump into the divine constitution. Let's get it in. So, if y'all get a copy of the divine constitution, you should see that the prophet is standing in the middle with 2 laws on your right facing you and 5 laws on your left facing you. So just want to point that out because that was pointed out to me some time ago by one of the members here. It's FOCAT, y'all. I didn't even notice that. Yeah, I told you, man, they out here kumbaya. They came right next to me, y'all. They having a meeting. But we gonna do our best, Mother Best. With that, divine respect and love and honor to to the Deity bat set. Got all the cats right here. So let's jump into it. Act 1. The Grand Sheik and the chairman of the Moorish Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of the Moorish Temple of America. The assistant Grand Sheik is to assist the Grand Sheik in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And it is known before the members of the Moorish Temple of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Temple of America. No member is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are a part and parcel of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the state government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we're teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and parcel of the said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meeting and become a part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faith. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become part of the uplifting of humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his Father God Allah. True peace, Islam, y'all. Well, they moving like a unit out here tonight. I ain't never seen that before. But let's jump right into the to the weekly readings, y'all, which will be opening up the Holy Qur'an Circle 7, which you can also get a copy from the link that's pinned up at the top of the room, which is our temple room. Sorry, it doesn't appear like it used to, but it is there for us, for members and visitors and guests to click the link, join us. I just gotta put the connection to the Telegram on the site. Like I say, update the All Eyes on Ethiopia store that we have, which you can find on the World Library tab of the website as well. So we actually have our World Library, which will have the scriptures that we read here in the temple: El's Holy Injiyl, El's Holy Qur'an, El Teflim, which is the Book of Psalms, and others such as the Holy Tablets, which you could also read on. You click the website under the Holy See tab. No, I'm sorry, the Home tab. You can go to Holy Tablets and read the Holy Tablets from there as well. But you'll have other things in the World Library like the Family Guide, Qur'an, and other spiritual literature that we'll be observing here in the World Temple, Branch Temple number 4. So we won't just be boggled down with just reading the Moorish Temple of America Holy Qur'an, but we'll be exploring with, the messages from the prophet, that we honor all true and divine prophets. So that includes reading the Yorinthia, the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Apocrypha, all these great scriptures, especially on Fridays where we talk about the revealing, which we're supposed to come together and actually read these holy and sacred scriptures and discuss them, especially how they relate to us in the now time. So let's jump into the Holy Quran Circle 7, open it up with chapter 25, part of our weekly readings, before we get into tonight's message from the ancestors and the divine. Okay. So let's jump to chapter 25, which is called the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nation. And like I said, you can get a copy of the El's Holy Quran, not El's Holy Quran, but the Circle 7 Holy Quran. You click that link at the top wrong, and it should be on our Holy See tab and go to World Ministries, and on that particular page you should be able to get a free copy of the El's Holy Quran. So let's get into it. Let's get into it. Like I say, we about to read chapter 25. Man, I need to picture this, man. Y'all wouldn't even see this. I ain't never seen nothing like that. Wild stuff. Right. So yeah, get to the covenant. We're gonna go in tonight about why these covenants are tied into each other. All right. So the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nation, chapter 25, it reads, "Ye are the children of one father, provided for by his care, and the breast of one mother had given you suck. Let the bonds of affection therefore unite thee with thy brothers, that peace and happiness may dwell in thy father's house. And when ye separate in the world, remember the relation that bindeth you to love and unity, and prefer not a stranger before thy own blood. If thy brother is in adversity, assist him. If thy sister is in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortunes of thy father contribute to the support of his whole race, and his care be continued to you all in your love to each other." So, like I said, with that, we're going to be going over some of the other covenants that pertain to us as the people of the Kitab, or the people of the book, as is mentioned in El's Holy Quran, about who we are as a people. We are called the people of the book. So, this is one of the things that we should point out to our people. First thing first is, you don't want to get involved with this unless you take this serious, as me and Her Majesty was discussing before we open up the service tonight. You have people that get involved with the Moorish Temple of America, or and just the national and divine movement, without even having, just a pure intent for why they're getting involved. And you want to make sure that you understand these principles and these objectives first thing, especially Moorish and indigenous principles, especially indigenous principles, because a lot of things that we have experienced in the modern day life from these religious fanatic groups that we have out here today, we get shunned away from where a lot of these practices and customs come from, because they have been usurped or culturally appropriated from our ancient indigenous cultures and ways of life. So you would think that something that a religious fanatic group practices, or what they so-called call a cult, some type of cult, what they practice, but that's not actually where that way of life or that science or that tradition actually comes from. So we gotta be careful with that, especially when communicate with our people and understanding what their objectives is to, being involved with us as a nation of people. We are a holy nation of people, and that means we just a wholesome people. We're not a ratchet people. This is why we have other adversarial type people that really go over and beyond to make sure that we all looked at as savages and things like that, and illiterate minded people and uncivilized people by the things that we participate, the activities and behaviors that we participate in. So we just want to make sure that our objectives is straight, and we coming into the divine and national movement with an ethical intent. So let's jump to chapter 47 and 48 from the Circle 7 Holy Quran, and it reads, well, chapter 47, I'm sorry, before we jump in, it's called Egypt, the capital empire of the Dominion of Africa. And it reads, the inhabitants of Africa are the descendants of the ancient Canaanite from the land of Canaan. Old man Cush and his family are the first inhabitants of Africa who came from the land of Canaan. His father Ham and his family were second. Then came the word Ethiopia, which means the demarcation line of the dominion of Amexem, the first true and divine name of Africa, the dividing of the land between the father and the son. The dominion of Cush, northeast and southeast Africa, and northwest and southwest, was his father's dominion of Africa. In later years, many of their brethren from Asia and the Holy Lands joined them. The Moabites from the land of Moab, who received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt to settle and inhabit northwest Africa, they were the founders and all the true possessors of the present Moroccan Empire, with their Canaanite, Hittite, and Amorite brethren, who sovereign from the land of Canaan, seeking new home. Their dominion and inhabitation extend northwest and southwest Africa, from northeast and southwest Africa, across Great Atlantis, even unto the present North, South, and Central America, and also Mexico and the Atlantis Island, before the great earthquake which caused the Great Atlantic Ocean. The river Nile was dredged and made by the ancient pharaohs of Egypt in order to trade with the surrounding kingdom. Also, the Niger River was dredged by the great pharaoh of Egypt in those ancient days for trade, and it extends eastward from the river Nile, westward across the Great Atlantic. It was used for trade and transportation. According to all true and divine records of the human race, there is no Negro, black, or colored race attached to the human family, because all the inhabitants of Africa were and are of the human race, descendants of the ancient Canaanite nation from the Holy Land of Canaan. What your ancient forefathers were, you are today without doubt or contradiction. There is no one who is able to change man from the descendant nature of his forefathers unless his power extends beyond the great universal creator Allah himself. These holy and divine laws are from the prophet Noble Drew Ali, the founder of the uniting of the Moorish Science Temple of America. These laws are to be strictly preserved by all members of the temple of the Moorish Science Temple of America, that they will learn to open their meeting and guide it according to the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Every subordinate temple of the Grand Major Temple is to form under the covenant of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and to create their own laws and customs in conjunction with the laws of the Holy Prophet and the Grand Temple. I, the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, was sent by the great God Allah to warn all Asiatics of America to repent from their sinful ways before that great and awful day that is sure to come. The time has come when every nation must worship under its own vine and fig tree, and every tongue must confess its own. Through sin and disobedience, every nation is suffered slavery due to the fact that they honored not the creed and principles of their forefathers. That is why the nationality of the Moors was taken away from them in 1774, and the word Negro, black, and colored was given to the Asiatics of America, who were of Moorish descent, because they honored not the principles of their mother and father and strayed after the gods of Europe, of whom they knew nothing. Islam, true peace. That was chapter 47, and like I said, pretty much every week, we get something new every time we reread and go over these weekly readings. Because understand that it mentions the Moroccan Empire on here, and that empire had a birth date, and a date that the empire came to a halt. So when we're talking about Morocco, we're referring to the empire, the ancient empire that made up the Moorish Muslims, as well as the desert Arab Muslims or Muslims of that day and time. But when we make reference to the empire, that is not the same as what you have today in the version of a country. The country of Morocco is not the empire, the Moroccan Empire. So just wanted to make that known and clear. And you have the message in the tablet. So we got to make sure we set the record straight and give clarity to our people, especially the ones that like to have these controversial questions or these antagonistic type questions about the Moorish Science Temple of America and being connected to Morocco. And going back to the Moabites, whom actually Yahshua HaMashiach is of the bloodline from. So with that, let's jump into chapter 48, called The End of Time and the Fulfilling of the Prophecy. And it reads, the last prophet in these days is Noble Drew Ali, who was prepared divinely in due time by Allah to redeem man from their sinful ways, to warn them of the great wrath which is sure to come upon the earth. John the Baptist was the forerunner of Jesus in those days to warn and stir up the nation and prepare them to receive the divine creed which is to be taught by Jesus. In these modern days, there came a forerunner of Jesus who was divinely prepared by the great God of law, and his name is Marcus Garvey, who did teach and warn the nations of the earth to prepare to meet the coming prophet, who was to bring the true and divine creed of Islam, and his name is Noble Drew Ali, who was prepared and sent to this earth by Allah to teach the old time religion and the everlasting gospel to the sons of man, that every nation shall and must worship under their own vine and fig tree, and to return to their own and be one with their Father God of love. The Moorish Science Temple of America is a lawfully chartered and incorporated organization. Any subordinate temple that desires to receive a charter, the prophet has them to issue to every state throughout the United States, etc., that the world may hear and know the truth, that among the descendants of Africa there is still much wisdom to be learned in these days for the redemption of the sons of man, under love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. We, as a clean and pure nation, descended from the inhabitants of Africa, do not desire to amalgamate or marry into the families of the pale-skinned nations of Europe, neither serve the gods of their religion, because our forefathers are the true and divine founders of the first religious creed, for the redemption of and salvation of mankind on earth. Therefore, we are returning the church and Christianity back to the European nations as it was prepared by their forefathers for their earthly salvation. While we, the Moorish Americans, are returning to Islam, which was founded by our forefathers for our earthly and divine salvation. The covenant of the great God Allah, honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be longer upon the earth land, which the Lord thy God Allah had given thee. Come all ye Asiatics of America, and hear the truth about your nationality and birthright, because you are not Negroes. Learn of your forefathers' ancient and divine creed, that you will learn to love instead of hate. We are trying to uplift all of humanity. Come and link yourself with the family of nations. We honor all true and divine prophets. True peace, y'all. So that makes up our weekly readings. Make sure that we can bring people up if they come in the room. I don't really think nobody came in. But let's jump into this week's sermon. So, like I said, we're gonna dive into these covenants tonight that are written in, I think it's bulletin number 8 for the World Temple. So I'll put the blog here in the chat, that way everybody follow along. Make sure you got the right one. So that's blog number 7, matter of fact. So I'm gonna put that in the chat. Take a look at it. Right. So this one is called the This one is called the letter for the Royal Crown Resolution. We're gonna jump right into that. Put the blog in the chat. I may be moving the blogs to medium.com. That way we can get traction blogs and we bring in income temple as well. But let's jump into blog over tonight. The resolutions that I want to touch on. But let's get into this. It's not really a long read, but I wanted to touch on this because I want us to understand that the prophets say we honor all true and divine prophets. So when we have these religious or ecclesiastical decrees, we want to give them the proper respect that they're due, especially when we're talking about decrees that were channeled down by the source. And our brothers and sisters that really got into automatic writing in ancient times, which is called in this day and time, the scribes. We call them the scribes or the scribes. So the information wasn't able to be conveyed the way we're able to really break these things down to a lot of our people. They miss the message, because especially when it comes to religious controversy and things like that, we kind of miss the mark sometimes with our people, and sometimes they just don't have the adequate capacity to really understand the lessons that's being taught to them, especially about the way these ancient texts are conveying the messages and how they came about. Because we get into arguments over, well, another man wrote that or another woman wrote that, and the fact of the matter is, okay, that is true, but let's please understand that there are spiritual talents and spiritual gifts out there. That's just like when you go to someone that does tarot card readings and they start tapping into your cipher or your Akashic records, and they start telling you things that only you would know, and or your family would know. So, especially those that are able to, tap in and talk to the spiritual living or the ascended ones. Because we in this particular temple, we don't refer to them as dead people because they're not necessarily dead. We understand that these spirits are alive. Spirits are alive. Their flesh may have ascended and passed on. Their physical bodies may be dead, but we understand that their souls and their spirits are alive. So you do have the spirits of the so-called dead, and that would be a spirit that lives past the age of what spirits can live. So you hey, cats going hard on each other. So you do have that, but we're talking about spirits that are living. So let's get into this resolution, which is called, like I said, letter for the Royal Crown Resolution, which is drafted by me, of course. And it reads, begin all things first by using divine love. This is to the global village. True peace, all kin and friends of the world congregation. Please listen to reason. This is resolution number 001, which is called the House of Crowns Legislative Journal from 2016. That is the first resolution that we are addressing. It says this resolution reads as follows from conveyor to the conveyed. For each time conditions are the same. For the same, each time is with conditions. For in the house of Shamuel, with each authorized representative from on 3/25/2016 as the embodiment of confidant sons and daughters of the proud and well-grafted ethnicity who inspired the architecture of the world societies and beyond, carried it into each landmass world over, the influence of its artistic temperament having become secure creditors, its cheaters, and commoners or communers of the boundless Omniverse. For New City of Peace by name, letter patent, copyright, and trademark is the laudable title, name, and description of each community on every landmass. Pitchnovians or Nubian Ethiopian Moors are present, along with its commoners or communers, citizens and subjects, and foreign allies. Hereby, with this communication and announcement, each time conditions are the same, for each time the same is with conditions, for now being with the ability to affix our titles of nobility to our names and appellations, which establish heritage and customs and laws, and we are just as American as the citizens of the United States of America, to which this landmass and country, now called Atlan, and even as the creditors of the corporation, we are sovereigns and nationals with equal legal and lawful standing and status, in accordance with Resolution 75, printers number 1034, as stated on April 17, 1933, and adopted on May 4th, 1933. For as on public record in 1933 Legislative Journal for the House of Representatives, page 5759, or 5,759, all Nubian Ethiopian Moors are now scientifically known by name, letter patent, copyright, and trademark as pitch novans, which means black stars or luminaries. Pitch meaning black and nova meaning star. So on the blog, we give a picture of the coat of arms of Pope Benedict and the Kaput Ethiopium, which is the head of Ethiopia, showing that the Catholic Church was established and does have the participation of who they call the Moors, the melanated, or so-called blackamoors as participants, and if not, the head of the actual what's called the Universal Church of the Vatican, of the Catholic Church. So continuing on, it says the personal papal coat of arms of Pope Benedict was designed by Archbishop Andrea Cordero Lanza di Montezemolo, who was later created a cardinal soon after the papal elections in 2005. Moor's head of Freising from the coat of arms of the Prince Bishopric of Freising. The Moor's head is a heraldic charge associated with what Upper Bavaria. This is in Germany. The origin of the Moor's head and Freising is not entirely known. Typically facing to the heraldic right, the viewer's left, dexter in heraldic terms, and depicted in natural brown color, Kaput Ethiopium or Ethiopium, literally Ethiopian head with red lips, crown, and collar. This is the ancient emblem of the Diocese of Freising, founded in the 8th century, which became a metropolitan archdiocese with the name of München und Freising in 1818. Subsequent to the concordat between Pope Pius the VIII and King Maximilian Joseph of Bavaria on June 5th, 1817. More of Freising, Kaput Ethiopium, symbolizing the universality of the Catholic Church. So like I say, this shows that the Moors was in participation. So when y'all see us talk about these, not talk about, but you see people may make description of the holy keys for the world temple and why we have that symbol of the holy keys, because that's referring to the book of Matthew, and we're gonna address that here in a second. But like I said, we're gonna touch on these covenants first. But we're gonna see why tonight clearly, with clear distinction, why we should pay attention to these divine covenants, not just scripturally, but how they connect us back, not just scripturally or biblically, but connect us back to our ancient and divine creed. And it's a part of our nationality, and we have the right to claim our ancient sciences as well as traditions, as well as formulas and principles. So let's get into the rest of this letter book. It says the Moor's head is fairly common in European heraldry. Heraldry. It still appears today in the arms of Sardinia and Corsica, as well as in the blazons of various noble families. Italian heraldry, however, usually depicts the Moor wearing a white band around his head instead of a crown, indicating a slave who has been freed. Whereas in Germany heraldry, the Moor is shown wearing a crown. The Moor's head is common in the Bavarian tradition and is known as the Caput Ethiopica, or the Moor of Freising. The third crown was created in 1537 by Pope Paul III through the Papal Bull Convocation, also meant to open the Council of Trent. It is the third and final testamentary deed and will of a testamentary trust set up for the claiming of all lost souls lost to the sea. Let's start right there. So we just read and we reading what the Vatican done with claiming the whole world under its jurisdiction, where you will have the Papal Bull, which is connected to the Papal Bull Antiquatera, which they would call the discovery doctrine, the doctrine of discovery. So we're going into the intricacy of it, and we're gonna keep driving this home because we drove the point home last holy day, about why we should be involved with the Juneteenth Independence Day and what that is leading up to in this nation and this country, and why all Moorish participants should be politically active, as we read from the prophet. So let's continue on. It says the Venetians assisted the Venetians, assisted in the creation of the first Seste Queve Act of 1540 to use this Papal Bull as the basis of ecclesiastical authority of Pope Henry the Eighth, or King Henry the Eighth, I think. This crown was secretly granted to England in the collection and reaping of lost souls. The crown was lost in 1816 due to the deliberate bankruptcy of England and granted to the Temple Bar, which became known as the Crown Bar, or simply the Crown. So let's go back to the title real quick, reflect on the title. The title of this bulletin, number 7, is called The Letter for the Royal Crown Resolution. So we as a temple, as a global temple, and as I mentioned here before, this is a royal court. The Moorish sign symbol of America represents a sovereign theocratic government, just as well as what the Vatican is structured as. So we're acknowledged on the American landmass, just like the Vatican is there with their own sovereign jurisdiction over there, right? We have that same level of sovereignty, and we need to really understand what is the principle of standing on that sovereignty. As we go over this letter bulletin, it's gonna make that real distinct, and it's gonna make that clear. So let's continue on from where we left. It says The bar associations have since been responsible for administering the reaping of the souls of the lost and damned, including the registration and collection of baptismal certificates representing the souls collected by the Vatican and stored in its vault. This third crown is represented by the third Sestequevi trust, created when a child is baptized. It is the parent's grant of the baptismal certificate and title to the soul and to the church or registrar. Thus, without legal title over one's own soul, we will be denied legal standing and will be treated as things of cargo without soul, upon which the world bar is now in full operation of the law and legally able to enforce maritime law globally. Why is that? Why is we saying this bullet? Why am I saying this in the bullet? Well, because with us being a global branch temple of the Moorish Science Temple and being a grand sheik, and if you really actually read the original adept certificates, it says a grand sheik passes the bar 7 times over. So that means you understand the ecclesiastical law. You understand the laws of the spirit jurisdiction, the laws of the spirit, as they call it. So with us being chartered as a global branch temple and the work that we done prior to coming into the temple, because the ancestors took me, on a journey before even getting the official charter for the temple, because like I knew then we had to have that connection with the Moorish Science Temple of America. I had to be involved with the Moorish Science Temple of America. I just wasn't gonna be out here, having a church and understanding that church concept goes back to standing alone, goes back to the 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 not the Omniversal Church, that's us. It goes back to the Universal Church, which is the Vatican. So we made sure that with operating as a Omniversal Church with a 501c, not a 501c3 structure, that we will be operating in our own statutory jurisdiction when we go to bridge the gap for our people, bringing them in to their own nationality and their own divine creed. Because it's only so far and it's only a limited capacity up to where we can take our people with the 3 orthodox religions and cultures: Christianity, Islam, or Mohammedanism, and Mosesism, or Judaism. It's only so far we can take them. If we really want to kick it up a notch and bring in what is Moorish science, indigenous science, and really touch on the science, we had to establish the temple. We had to bring in that concept for our people to really understand the first the book of 1 Corinthians 3:16, that we are the temple and the spirit of the divine dwells within us, and when 2 or 3 or more come carried in the name, we become a temple, church, mosque, hut, village, etc. So let's keep on. Let's continue on. It says, for this resolution by claim, clarification, and announcement is in favor of all Pitchnobians or Ethiopian Moors who are presently chattel, subjects, and warehouse goods of contract state, either imperial, international, or national, and along with all commoners or communers, citizens, and subjects, and foreigner allies, hereby with this communication and announcement, each time conditions are the same, for each time the same is with condition. Us of the Royal Society have with full self-determination, us of the Royal Crown Society have with full self-determination to reform our present day government, either democratic or republic. For with the exercising of our self-determination, we hereby claim, demand, and enforce our right to be called, addressed, and commuted to as and by our scientific, ethnic, symbolic appellation, title, name, and or description as the indigenous, autonomous, and autochthon beings of the boundless Omniverse, with full power and right to make this claim, announcement, and convey it to the world societies and beyond. So that covers the letter bullet, and but the rest of the resolutions that I drafted and issued from the Nucratic Society. So these letter bulletins were adopted by us as a chartered and incorporated temple of the Moorish Science Temple of America. So with us being acknowledged as a sovereign theocratic government and nation of people, as a government, a theocratic government, we now have the ability to uplift fallen humanity as we were given the holy instructions, the divine instructions to do such. So that means we get to go into acknowledging and accrediting our own people, whether they Levite, Asher, Gadite, Danite, Nazarite, from all of these ancient tribes going all the way back, whether it's scriptural or pre-scriptural, the Thai people, the Kutite, etc. We get to give the acknowledgement and our sovereign theocratic capacity and accreditation to these nations through our sovereign theocratic government, the theocracy of the Moorish Science Temple of America. So this is the difference between what we're explaining. As I mentioned before, start your nation, but make sure you standing on the foundation of the Moorish Science Temple of America first. Which branch temple are you a part of? Who is the Grand Sheik? The prophets say you want to make laws that are in conjunction with the holy laws of the prophet. Create your own laws and customs. So that would include your tribe, whatever specific tribe that you're a part of. And you can click the link that's pinned up there at the top of the room called the Holy Temples, which is our branch temple website, and go to the Holy See tab and click on World Parliament. And you're going to get a list of all of the different body politics that are accredited and acknowledged through the Moorish Science Temple of America. And if you have a Moorish Science Temple, not Science Temple, but if you have a Moorish nation, empire, or kingdom, or indigenous nation, empire, and kingdom that we don't have listed on there, get in contact with us so we can put your name on there. This is a way for us all to actually work together and give acknowledgement to each other. But we all work through the royal court. We all work through the temple. The temple is what has been acknowledged. The prophet, one temple, one prophet. So the main resolution that I wanted to go over was the I think it's the ancient treaty law resolution. But we have resolution 002, resolution 003 for the Nibiru Reserve, global crypto banking resolution, resolution 004 for our own insurance, our own insurance organization. We have resolution 005, which is called the Mundialization Resolution, which is saying we're operating in the Mundalized form, which is a global form. The Nucratic Society is a global society. Resolution 007, which goes over the clarification proclamation that was done through the Nucratic Society that I also left. And we have resolution 008, which goes over our clarification of intergalactic sovereignty and proclamation. And then we have resolution 009, which is a presentment and claim on the planet Earth, with us being the descendant of Adam that was given dominion over the earth. And that's in the Bible, that's in the scriptures. So we're going to go over these covenants from resolution 006. Like I say, the ancient treaty law resolution. We want to go over, click on that on the bulletin. It's a one pager. And it reads, this resolution as follows from conveyor to conveyed, for each time conditions are the same, for the same each time is with condition. For in the house of Shamuel, with each authorized representative on 3/25/2016, as the embodiment of confidant sons and daughters being secure creditors, escheators, and communers or commoners of the boundless Omniverse. So this is our ancient treaty law resolution. A treaty is a covenant. It says a treaty is a covenant which an oath or solemn and binding agreement or compact, which is a oath or solemn and binding agreement or compact. It is an agreement or oath between two parties to keep a promise. Nature has made covenants with elect chosen beings. There are quite a few covenants mentioned in holy text. So these 5 covenants that is listed here is what we're about to go over. Like I said, this is what I want to get us to tonight. But I want to lay down the foundation, go over the foundation where we're going with this. It says the Tamoraean Hittite Peace Treaty is also known as the Eternal Treaty or the Silver Treaty, is the only ancient Near Eastern treaty for which both side version have survived. It is sometimes called the Treaty of Kadesh after the well-documented Battle of Kadesh, fought some 16 years earlier. Although Kadesh is not mentioned in the text, both sides of the treaty have been subject of intense scholarly study. The Eternal Treaty, affirming the Amarna letter, Mari tablets, and the Code of Hammurabi, is deriving its power and authority from the Great Summeria Tablets, called for us the Holy Tablets, Atra Hasis, Enuma Elish, the Akkadian Tablets, and the Holy Scriptures of the Seven Seals, which is El Suhuf, the Pure Pages, El Hikmah, called the Book of Wisdom, El Torah, which is the laws, El Zabuwr, which is the Book of Psalms, Book of Barnabas, El Injiyl, Book of Revelations, and El Qur'aan, which is called the Revelations, which was given by Arch Angel Gabriy'El to Muhammad, the seal of the prophet, to appoint and consecrate missionaries of the prophet and to establish our Royal and Imperial Divan, or which is a government, throughout the boundless Omniverse. So these treaties that we're making reference to, and treaties and covenants that we're making reference to, is things that we have to understand that we also have with chapter 25, the covenant, the holy covenant of the Asiatic nation. And that is to honor our brothers and our sisters in unity. So we have to go back to these ancient treaties that we stood on that really went into our ways of life and our customs. Because we talk about the different customs of the temple, but how do we really establish that these are ancient? Well, this is what we're talking about here. This is how you redeem yourself without money. This is why we have the bulletin number 1, which is the letter of redemption. You have someone that stood up and say, well, hey, that redemption that we talking about is not just about the spiritual redemption. Yes, it's about the spiritual redemption, but it's also about the sovereignty of our people. It's also about the independence of our people. It's also about the freeing of our people. You should know the truth, and it shall set you free. And you shall be redeemed without money. So all the paperwork pushing, the status pushing, the paperwork status change stuff, throw it all away. Our people need to reassess. Go and learn some skills, some trade sets that we can all benefit from as a community, that we can all operate with a cooperative spirit, as the prophets say, and create economics for ourselves. That way we can create a better ecology. That way we can protect the ecology, the ecological system around us. Especially when we know that there's other immoralisms and ways of living that are really damaging us as a people. So let's get into this covenant of life, which is done with prophet Noah in Genesis 9:16. So I'm gonna put these scriptures in the chat. That way we got access to them and we know where we coming from. So go over Genesis 9:16, right? So this one is called, and some of y'all should be familiar with this one. I'm gonna put it in the chat if Matt speak to it, right? So I just put that in the chat for us. So let's jump to it. Let's read what it says. All right. So Genesis 9:16 says, "And the bow shall be in the cloud, and I will look upon it, that I may remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of all flesh that is upon the earth." So this is why it's called the covenant of life. I'm gonna put the actual words. I'm gonna put the actual words in the chat as well. So we truly got insight on what these covenants is actually saying. So that's Genesis 9:16, called the covenant of life. That's what's going on, brother. I'm sorry. All right, so let's go over this next one as people up through here. All right, so let's go over this next treaty. I'm sorry, this next covenant. Get it proper. Why load. All right, so the next one is Genesis 2 with Ishmael, called the covenant of the flesh. Hold on, let me make sure I got that one right. I think it's 17:2. I think I said Genesis 2. So let it load again. So I think we're going to Genesis 17:2, which is the covenant with Ishmael. So let's jump to 17:2. And it says, "I will make my covenant between me and thee, and will multiply thee exceedingly." So that's Genesis 17. Jump. All right, so I'm gonna just copy here. keep doing the jump jack. All right, so I'm about to put it in the chat so y'all can follow along with what we're dropping. So that's 17.2. That's the link. And let me put the words in here. Code up here. Yep. So this one is called the Covenant of the Flesh. Genesis 7:2. That must be why. Gotcha. They got- Got me text going crazy. Get to dropping this high science on it. But we gonna drop it though. Gotta put it out there for the people. Peace, 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 brother Jonathan. Happy holy day. Happy holy day. No. If you can't share the room for me, Jonathan, share it on the Telegram chat and share it to your Facebook. That I don't even think I got a chance to do that. So while I'm telling you to do that, let me go ahead and do this thing. Share it to Clubhouse. Then let me bring you up. And I'm gonna share it to our Facebook, Twitter. And this will be put on YouTube, so you all get a chance to go back and listen to what's being said and broken down here tonight. Really harness in the message coming through tonight. One more time, Facebook. Yeah, but if you can put it in our Facebook message chat too, that'll be a blessing. We got the Facebook group, we got the Facebook chat. So not just they should be able to go back and listen to it. Got the temple on here. All right, so that's done. All right, so let's get back into it. Thank you. I was glitching. I don't know if it recorded that good or not, but we just went over the first covenant, which is the covenant of life, and the second one is the covenant of flesh. And you can find both of those covenants in the chat But first, if you want to follow along, just follow the succession of the links, because the links go in order as I'm putting it in the chat. So that way you can keep up with what's being conveyed tonight. So the first covenant was with Prophet Noah. The second one was with Prophet Ishmael, and that's Genesis 17:2. And then the third covenant is 17:7 with Prophet Isaac. So let's jump into 17:7 and go over what it says there. And it says, I will establish my covenant between me and thee and thy seed after thee and their generations for an everlasting covenant, to be a God unto thee and to thy seed after thee. So this is the covenant that was made with Isaac, right? So let's put the link in the chat. So we're gonna wake it up. We're gonna wake it up for the people. Block post link. Yep. So that's Genesis 17:7. And a slap extra emoji. All right, so that was with the prophet Isaac. So let's get to the next one, which is the fourth one, called the covenant. So that was the covenant of promise, and I was done with prophet Isaac. Now this next one is called the covenant of law, which is Exodus 6:4 with the prophet Moses, or deity Moses in this sense, because like we said last holy day, Moses was made a deity. So we have to, let that be remembered always and let that be known. So let's get into Exodus 6:4 and what it says there. So we're gonna go over these covenants. So Exodus 6:4 reads, I also established my covenant with them, and to give them the land of Canaan, where they resided as foreigners. So that's the New International Translation. Let's get the King James Version. It says, and I have also established my covenant with them, and give them the land of Canaan, the land of their pilgrimage, wherein they were strangers. So does this go back to what the prophet was saying when we read chapter 47 and 48 about the land of Canaan? Because it's clearly making it clear cut right here as we read. I'm not sure who that was that came into the room, y'all. True peace, true peace. Oh, that's Brother Brian. Welcome, Brother Mo. Welcome, Brother Mo. Let me bring you up. Yeah, y'all can follow. If you go in the chat, look in the chat, you can follow the succession of where we at right now. And y'all really gonna want to go back to this replay because we dropping a heavy load for y'all. And so these are the 5 main covenants of the scriptures that needs to be understood. And you can get the insight if you follow each link one by one to the next one. So just make sure when you go to the letter bulletin, which is the first link, you want to make sure that you go to resolution 006, the ancient treaty law resolution for the Nucratic Society, because we're breaking down why these ancient treaties and covenants are still a factor to this day, because these are everlasting covenants, as we just read, especially with Prophet Isaac and the covenant that was established with him. So let's continue on with Exodus 6:4, and I'm gonna put that in the chat. It says, I have also established my covenant with them and give to them the land of Canaan, the land of their pilgrimage, where they were strangers. So what we got right here, y'all? What we got right there? So I'm gonna put the verbiage in the chat. I'm gonna put the link. That don't like us. Happy holy day, brother Mo, brother Raheem. Exodus 6:4. Y'all definitely gonna want to go back and listen to this play. Happy holy day. You sound real low, no? Try to get the mic a little louder. I heard you though. It was like real faint. So I don't know if y'all heard me earlier, brother Brian, but I know you fresh in the room, Jonathan and brother Raheem. But we are now putting these recordings on YouTube, so you all can go back once we get done here tonight. This will be on YouTube officially. So we want to make sure y'all come through clear on the mic, make sure the audio is clean, because you will be heard on YouTube. And we about to kick off the YouTube automation and things like that, so that way we'll drive a lot of traffic to the sermon, and people will be pretty much listening. You'll have thousands of people listening eventually to the sermons, because I'm over here learning some marketing things and making sure we exercise these things I went and got certifications in, and just still learning as we go. So like I said, that's one of the things we're gonna be stepping up to the plate this year, stepping our cookies up, because we want to make sure that we can be self-sustainable as a body, and not just the congregation being involved, but just as a whole, especially with me as one of the heads of the whole, setting that example on how we make these things happen. So like I said, we're gonna be stepping our cookies up and really getting to it. So this next covenant is called the covenant of the future. So I'm gonna go over the covenants again. The covenant of life, which is the first covenant, Genesis 9:16, and then that is with prophet Moses. And then the covenant of flesh, Genesis 17:2, with prophet Ishmael. And then the covenant of promise, 17:7, with prophet Isaac. And then the covenant of law with deity Moses, Exodus 6:4. And now this last covenant that we're going into is called the covenant of the future, Jeremiah 31:31. So let's jump into that covenant. So like I said, so if y'all want to catch up, go back, click that first link, go to the bulletin, read the bulletin and what it's conveying. And especially come back, listen to the replay, so that way you actually hear me go over it and how I conveyed it. So That way you can follow in alignment with what we're touching on here right now. So let's jump to Jeremiah 31:31, and what does it actually say? So let's get into that, right? So it says, let's go to the King James. It says, "Behold, the days come, said the Lord, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel, and with the house of Judah." So there was a covenant established with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. So let's put that in the chat, and that is Jeremiah 31:31. So it said, "Behold, the days will come. The days come." So in the newer translations, it says, "The days are coming, declares the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the people of Israel and with the people of Judah." So basically the same thing. About to put that in the chat. Like weirdo. May have to leave the room, y'all. Come back. Cause my thing that weird. All right. Jeremiah 31:31. All right. So now we got all of the covenants in there. I'm gonna make sure I add the link to the Exodus. We go back to the Exodus, and then drop this Jeremiah, and then we're gonna continue on. All right. So that's this Exodus. Now let's go back to the Jeremiah. We're gonna conclude the sermon. Because like there we go. So like I was mentioning earlier, if we understand that the Papa Bull of the Vatican that established the reaping of the lost souls, and it's been handed over to the Crown Bar, and now what we established in the Nucratic Society and establishing the Imperial Royal Crown, or the Royal Crown Society, however you want to look at it, the Royal Crown Bar, or as the World Bar, and we have the World Temple, and we have our inner temples. And like I said, to be a Grand Sheik, if you go look at the charters, or a Sheik, or I'm sorry, an Adept, you have to pass the bar 7 times over. So, Noble Rahim, is you there? I don't know if you can hear me. Can you able to tap in? Give him some time to come back to the mic. I don't know if you can hear me, Rahim. Well, I can hear you, but you just real low. You may have to, I don't know, you probably close some apps or something. What'd you say, Noble? Nah, you still low. That's what I was saying. You probably gotta leave out and come back in so we can pick up your voice. Cause you real low. Or can y'all hear him clear? Cause I know he low on my end.
I don't know if you can hear me.
He say,
Yeah, he's real fast.
yeah, I hear you.
Okay,
Yeah, you real clear. You clear.
I can
You
kind of.
probably gotta leave out, Raheem. The Majesty say she can't hear nobody. So me and Raheem, we gonna jump back. All right, can y'all hear me clear? Mic check.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. We just gonna wait on Raheem. Okay, perfect. Let me make sure we get the meditation back up. I think it cuts off when I leave. Yeah, it does. It cuts off when I leave out.
True peace, true
There
peace.
you go. You loud and clear. No, affirmative. All right. Do you got your adept charter? All's well.
I do. I have it. Yes, sir.
Let's read what the adept charter say, or the adept certificate say for the adept. Yeah, he was real low. Yeah. So the brother, Honorable Raheem Muhammad, he's gonna read over the adept certificate. Uh, Raheem is who I actually went to chambers with, and we went through the adept chambers and became, adepts together. We crossed that burning desert together. So we're gonna go into the details here with the readings from the charter, well, from the certificate. I keep saying charter, but reading from the certificate on what the principles of being an adept entails. Especially when I say as an adept, you pass the bar 7 times over. So when you become a lawyer in the United States of America or else, you have to pass the bar. You have to become a part of the bar. And that's what they push for. You don't necessarily have to. Let me correct myself. You don't necessarily have to, but that is the narrative and what they push for you to be a part of the bar, so you can practice law. So let me know when you're ready, Raheem.
True peace. I'm ready.
Okay, go ahead. Islam.
Islam. Degree of adept in defense of the everlasting gospel. Greetings. The council of the brotherhood convened and Jesus stood before the Hierophant. He answered all the questions that were asked with clearness and with power. The Hierophant exclaimed, "Your wisdom is the wisdom of the gods. Why seek for wisdom in the halls of men?" Jesus said, "In every way of life I will walk. In every hall of learning I will sit. The heights that any man has gained, these I would gain. What any man has suffered, I would meet, that I may know the griefs, the disappointments, and the sore temptations of my brother man, that I may know just how the source of these in need. I pray you, brothers, let me go into your dismal crypts, and I will pass the hardest of your tests." The master said, "Take then the vow of secret brotherhood." This is to certify that Brother Raheem Muhammad has been 6 times before the bar, 6 times a mighty conqueror, and has been found qualified, tried, and found true to enter the chamber of the dead and meet the great grand Hierophant for furthering their learning. By virtue of the authority vested in the most holy prophet, Noble Jew Ali, and the great grand assembly of the Adept Chamber of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Third Heaven. Brother Raheem Muhammad has been appointed to the station of Sheik and has taken on the holy name Brother Raheem Muhammad Bey. On the 15th day of October in the year of 2020 at the Grand Major Temple, also known as Home Office, Chicago, Mecca, Illinois. This degree of adept and appointment of Sheik expires only when the bearer violates their sacred affirmation, the rules and regulations of the Moorish Temple of America after a fair trial. In testimony whereof I have underto subscribed and affixed the seal of the said Moorish Temple of America and the seal of the Moorish Divine and National Movement of North America. Signed by Master Abdep and Hierophant, Brother Kenyu Umar Bey, Grand Sheik and Divine Minister. True peace.
Peace. Peace. So, like I said, he passed the bar 6 times over. So, the lawyer, to become a lawyer, he has to pass the bar. So that means Honorable Raheem Muhammad has the authority to do what? That means he has the power to express law. He has the authority to express law. So they like to say you can't practice law without a license. So he has technically a certification, what they would call a license to express or even practice law. So this is why I say some of those that become adept in jurisprudence, they should be creating Moorish practices of law, Moorish practice firm. Like I said, the rappers brag about, like I said before, the rappers be bragging about having Jewish lawyers. But where are the Moorish lawyers, practices, and firms? Now we have the Tamarayan Natural Law Office within our branch temple. So in our economy through the branch temple, which is allowed to represent other branches and other members of other branches of the Moorish Science Temple of America, we have a firm here. So I set up a lot of different things for us through this branch temple. So I'm not just saying it just to be talking on my woo whacker. Not here to give no woo. This is science. We here to help you, make you feel good, make you feel better. But this is science, not woo. So I'm going into that because the temple bar, as they call it, through the Vatican, and it was passed on to the Crown Bar, which is where you have the Crown Bar in London that administrates all of the finances globally, right? And we should, we know that by studying these Illuminati conspiracy theories. But we verified it because those words that I put in that resolution, those are not my words. I'm just reconveying their words back, especially about the Seste Cueve and the reaping of the souls. These are words that you find in that Papabul. So if the discovery doctrine has been rescinded by Pope Francis, and we went over that last week, but we didn't actually read it because I said it's a long Papabul, or for us it's a long bulletin. So I'm gonna put that link in the chat as well as the link with the covenant, so that way y'all could read the resolution 006, the Nucratic Society resolution. Those resolutions has been adopted as bulletins, religious decrees. So that means when we read Act 1 of the Divine Constitution and Bylaws, it says the Grand Sheik is in the power to make law, along with the chairman of the temple, and enforce law. Let's read that Act 1. So we locking it in the brain. Now those sovereign citizen people might want to be here for this conversation, y'all, right? They gonna love this one. But I'm expressing and explaining how it's supposed to be properly conveyed. Not all the get out of jail free card stuff. You're coming into the movement because, like I said, people think they can get their bills paid, etc. All these other excuses for why they get involved and they decide to take up the plight of indigenous peoples so later on. And we're not just talking about any tribe. You can join whatever tribe. We talking about the nationhood. We talking about the nationhood. All right, so Act 1 says the Grand Sheik and the chairman of the Moorish Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of the Moorish Temple of America. The assistant Grand Sheik is to assist the Grand Sheik in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. It is known before the members of the Moorish Temple of America, and it is known before the members of the Moorish Temple of America. So, understand, when I issue a religious decree, that becomes law. So what we have done through the extension of our jurisdiction by going back and claiming our global dominion, because we got to understand that was given as a commandment. That's not a covenant. That was a commandment that was given to Adam in the scripture. That's a commandment. So we have the commandment. So let's go back to that. I put the link there, but let's go back to that reference point. So we could really wake it up. Let's go back to it in the scriptures, and that's Genesis 1:26. I'm gonna put that in the chat. Y'all can read along with me. All right, and we know the Bible has been used as a form of poison to poison those of El through the tricks, games, technology of Samael, which means to poison those of El. So let's read it. It says, oh, y'all can copy and paste, click on it, especially y'all with the iPhone. Y'all can just click on the links now. It says, and God said, let us make man in our image and after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the owl, the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, all over the earth, and every creeping, and over every creeping thing that creepeth it upon the earth. What is that? What is that? Somebody explain that to me, what that is? What that mean? What that sound like? What that sound like, y'all? Somebody tell me what that means.
It sounds like he had dominion over everything living on earth.
Is that a trust?
Yeah.
Sound like a trust, right?
Yes.
So we was given stewardship over the earth. We were made the trustees of the earth. We was given legal title to the earth. And it became an everlasting covenant as we go into those resolutions. And now down to today, with us propagating the faith and teaching our people the everlasting gospel, which is what we're about to get into here a bit. We're about to open up with El's Holy Quran, and then we're gonna open up the space for some current events, things y'all want to talk about that's going on today, and let it be known. But El's Holy Injiyl, El's Holy Quran, we read the introduction, a portion of the introduction, I think, last or 2 holy days ago. I'm not too sure. I think that was last holy day we read the introduction of that. And then on Sunday, newcomers gathered. We read the introduction for El's Holy Injiyl. And we read these things before, but I just wanted to get us prepared for a new season, a new year, because I don't know I can't remember. I got to go back. I still haven't went back yet, y'all, and looked at where we need to pick up in El's Holy Quran. But we're going to pick up and read from there. So I'm just letting this load up so we can jump into this El's Holy Quran. But we read portion of the introduction. Yeah, we stopped right right where I got it sitting on the page. So we went over the languages and how the languages was confounded, what was the point of them being confounded, and the demonic strategies that was created to widen, the gap of unity between us as people. So especially with the languages and how they came in with them. So I want to read a little bit more, starting from where I left off last week. And if you want to know where I left off last week, last holiday, just go back and listen to the replay. Or you can go on YouTube and listen to it from YouTube now, because all of the sermons is on YouTube. So where we left off last week, it says, Aramic Hebrew was the language of the Armenians, the descendants of Aram, the 5th son of Shem, Genesis 10:22. The country he settled in was called Aram, Numbers 32:37. The fact that the language was named Aram after him proves that he was a leader, a chief of a mighty man in his tribe. When a dialect evolved, it usually was named after the most powerful or outstanding member of the tribe or clan. In this case, it was Aram. These two languages, Ashuric and Aramic, are the sources from which all other dialects of the scriptures came from. The first set of languages, after Adamic, Hindu, Fare, were found in one general area, which is the Persian Gulf today. Sareg, meaning successful, the mother of all languages, came from Ashur. Arabic is the nearest dialect to Ashuric or Sareg. Arabic comes from the word Arab, meaning wandering the desert. The Arabic language came out of Joktan's first son, Arab. His seed became known as Arab, and their language was Arabic. So the master teacher wrote something called the first language, or first language scroll, the first language scroll. And what is God's language? So that's one of the things that we want to get our hands on, because we want to start tracing down these books from the master teacher and put these books in the school. So that way, when we going over not just the Civics 101 course, which is a free course, get your children involved, you start teaching your children, you educate your own children. But for the other lessons and things like that we have Grammar 101 in the school. So what should be the main books that we go over in Grammar 101? What is God's language? And first language. So we break that whole book down into different editions or lessons and assignments for our children. for our students, especially those at a university level. And then we come together with curriculums for the elementary level, and then the high school, the middle school, the high school level, and then the university level. So what I see it as is that elementary level should start off with the trivium, and then the middle school and high school students should be participating in the quadrivium, and then the university level students should be doing all of the liberal arts, all of the liberal arts, which is the 7 liberal arts. And now at this point with us, we're coming with the quintivium, uh, which is the the next liberal arts that we're adding on top of those 7 liberal arts, which will make it 12 liberal arts in total. So you will have a dodecaism, if that if that's the proper way to say that word. But let's continue on. It says ancient Sheik gave birth to what is known today as modern Arabic. The word Arabic is derived from the root word araba, meaning vehicle or mobile. I want y'all pay attention to that. The noun Atra is a title that was first associated with Ishmael, or at least remember that, who was Arab, who was Aram, who was Abram or Abraham's first son by his wife Hathor or Hagar, and this is found in Genesis 16:15 through 16. The dialect that Ishmael began to speak became known as Arabic. It was Chaldean, as his father spoke, and Mitzrayim, which his mother spoke. Ishmael and his mother Hagar settled in the desert area of the wilderness of Beersheba, which is found in Genesis 21:14 and 21:33, which is known as the Arabian Desert. The area that Ishmael settled in became marked as one of the holiest places on earth and became known as Ishmaelite. The Armenians, which is a Hebrew dialect, which they originally spoke, became broken into even more dialect. The Armenian script took a drastic change and became Syriac or Arabic. Syriac, Arabic, and Aramic Hebrew are the same dialect with more exaggeration. It is like two people speaking the same language, but being from two different locations. For example, if someone lives in New York and speaks English and meet up with someone from Jamaica, West Indies, both these people speak the English language, but the environment in which they live caused their accent, terminologies, and expressions to take a change. This is the same case with the Aramic Hebrew tongue, which through migration gave birth to a Syriac Arabic expression. Syriac Arabic and Aramic Hebrew are very similar, and they give an example of the similarities between Syriac Arabic and Aramic Hebrew, which you have salam from Syriac Arabic, and then shalom from Aramic Hebrew. And then you have Dawood for David or beloved, and Dawood is Syriac Arabic, and then Dawid is Aramic Hebrew. The word pilgrimage, you have Hajj in Syriac Arabic, and then Hageh in Aramic Hebrew. So these are ways that of showing the example of how they are pretty much the same languages and come from the same mother tongue. So it says in the famous Orthodox Sunni Muslim dictionary entitled Dictionary of Islam, Arabic is described as, by reason of its incomparable excellence, is called al-Laguh of the language. Very little has been written about the origin of the so-called Arabic language. However, it is clear that Arabic is not a language. It is a dialect composed of many borrowed words from other languages. As a matter of fact, 50% of the Arabic language is foreign words from other dialects of the Semitic family. This is something that most Muslims don't want to admit. So this is why we in the Moorish Science Temple of America, we stay grounded with the universal message of Islamicism, which is the ways of peace. That's probably the only ism that we associate with other than equalism, which is pretty much the same thing. So when it comes to us and us having different visitors and things like that, and temple guest members that come from other different sects or just other different faiths or other understandings of Islam. This is why we stay grounded with the universal message, especially with us understanding that we are those indigenous people that they're talking about. This message is coming from an indigenous person giving you the information in layman's terms about who we are as a people. So let's continue on. It says, the dots that did appear were the systems that Muslims brought about in the name of preserving the Qur'an, only made things more difficult for readers of the Qur'an. This happened because they were trying to bring a primitive document into modern times. Arabia was controlled by poets, and the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was not a prophet. In fact, the Quran speaks against them, which you can find in Quran, Surah 6, chapter 69, or Surah 69:41 and 36:69. So thus, his book was not receiving any respect, so it became necessary to improve upon the words of Allah by men, and Muslims are so blind that they can't see the evil in that. The Quran claims of itself to be total and complete and without any doubt, which you can find in Surah 2:1. It claims to be a clear message, which you can reference that in Quran 15:1. Yet they had to improve upon it with their grammatical system, which makes it impossible for anyone to fully understand, which leaves them the right to interpret it the way they wish by creating meanings for each word to fit into their newly formed Judaic Christian sect, Islam. Muslims will have to admit that they don't have the original Quran. The Quran that they hold in their hands today is not the original. Ask any sincere Muslim, do they have the original Quran? They will say we have the oldest copy of the Quran, or this Quran has no doubt in it. However, oldest does not mean original, and the Quran does have doubt in the form of many mistakes. So, sorry, but it has been proven that it does. The Quran that you hold in your hands today has been proven fallible. It does have mistakes in the Arabic and mistranslations in the English, contradictions, and the mistakes go on and on. And being that Muslims don't have the original Quran, they have no foundation for their religion without it. Muslims have a habit of talking about the Quran like it is so unique or original, and it comes from Judaic and Christian teachings and books. The very Quran puts forth a 1400-year-old challenge to produce a book or a chapter or a verse like it, claiming that it is impossible for anyone with the help of all the pages and all the ink in the world to produce one verse, chapter, or the whole book like it. And this request was made in several places in Quran 52:34, 17:88, 11:13, and 2:23. Well, guess what? It takes many years for anyone to take the challenge. It took many years for anyone to take the challenge seriously. But when they did, the challenge was met in the year 1987 AD in a book entitled The Life of the Messiah in a classical Arabic tongue by Abdo. And you can acquire that book from what they call the Zimwer Institute, and that's spelled ZWEMER Institute. It says the Quran eloquence was met by a great poet from Lebanon by a man named Khalil Gibran in a book he wrote entitled The Prophet, and the Muslim world thought it could not be done. Christians mocked the very style of the Quran, phrases, and the Tasmiyah. This goes to show that it can be done and that anybody can produce the like thereof. The book is divided into 30 chapters and is composed of verses compiled from the Gospels of 4 disciples, which is Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. According to the author, the book was written to show Muslims that the challenge they have been making for 1400 years has been finally met. In this book, The Life of the Messiah in the Classical Arabic Tongue, verses from the Quran was also taken and reworded using the language of the Quran, so that the book sounds as if it is written like the Quran. Make note that if the challenge has anything to do with a book being able to match the symbolism in the Quran, then it means nothing, because there is a book more symbolic, which is the book of Revelation, called the Injiyl, which you can find reference in Quran 3:3, Quran 5:49, and Quran 5:71, full of prophetic events that came and are coming true right now. As I have said in the past, if we people who are natives of the Arabic language are honest, which is very difficult when it comes to the Quran, we will admit that the language and the construction of this book, The Life of the Messiah in a Classical Arabic Tongue, written in the same Arabic of the Quran, its speaking ability is as that of the Quran. I have been reading the Quran in Arabic all my life. It is the same. Face it. So let's, let's jump into this some more. It says, more proof that the Quran was not for everyone is its simple promises in paradise. Take a look at Quran 76:7 through 21, which is verse 7 through 21. And let's see exactly what you are going to be getting in paradise, which is the list of it is garments of silk, reclining on raised thrones, neutral weather, and the days won't be too hot and the nights won't be too cold, bunches of fruit, promises of young female companions, which they call harayun, or pubescent maiden, and I think that's the last promise. So I'm gonna keep jumping back through the introduction, week to week. We ain't gonna go through the whole introduction because we would barely even get to the whole reading of the Quran. But I will read the first chapter, so that way we understand what is the point of reading the Quran when it was called for to read Fridays. We should be reading the Quran on Fridays, because the Quran is what you would call the everlasting gospel. So let's jump into the actual read, and at least make sure we got chapter 1 down pat again. So I'm gonna read chapter 1, which was revealed in the year 610 AD, and it's called Al-Alaq, the separation of congealed blood cells, or Iqra, which means to read. And the original order for this is chapter 1, and in the mistranslations of the Quran, they put it as chapter 96. So the master teacher put the Quran back in its original format, and then gave us the translation of it and what the communication and the message of the Quran was actually saying. So we're gonna be reading it, from an indigenous standpoint versus the Orthodox Muslim or Orthodox form of Islam, or what we would call Mohammedanism. So begin our prayer. We're gonna read it, and it reads: Begin all prayers and thinking by using the name of the source, Allah, the Rahman, the Yielder, who is the Rahim, merciful. So this is the section before the reading. It says, Muhammad, read in your Rab's name. Or this is the summary of the chapter. He created the inner sights of Allah. He taught you by way of the Kalam. Insan exceeds all bound. To your Rab is the Raja. Abu Jahl tried to hinder Muhammad from worshiping. So these are one of the characters that Prophet Muhammad had to deal with during this time. And it reads, read by using the name of your Muhammad Rab, Master Inki, who Kala create, who created the innocyte from an Allah, clot of congealed blood, cells separating of Mother Ninti. Read by way of your Rab, who is Master Nusku or Gabriy'El, who is sustainer, the Akram, most generous. It is he who Alam taught you by way of the Kalam or quill or the pen. He taught the innocyte that which they did not know. So the master teacher says verse 1 through 5 were revealed first, then verse 6 through 19 at a different time in the same year, 610 AD, was revealed. And it says, nevertheless, the insan or innocyte exceeded all bound, because with this knowledge he saw himself with many riches. Surely unto your Muhammad Rab, Master Nusku, is the Raja, return. Do you see him? And him is referring to Abu Jahl, who hindered an Ab, slave, and the slave that make reference to is Ahmad or Muhammad, when he tried to send salutations and worship. So the commentary for the next verse goes, Muhammad was asked, did he see if he was led into calmness? Abu Jahl denied the Qur'an. The Elohim will drag him by his Abu Jahl forelock if he continues to hinder others. So when he calls out for his supporters, the Anunnaki will call the Jabaniyat. Muhammad told him not to obey Abu Jahl and continue to draw near to the sword. So it says, with the verse it says, did you see that he, Muhammad, was led into calmness, or that he ordered trembling for the mention of it? Didn't you see that he, Abu Jahl, denied it, Al-Quran, and Tawala turned away? Doesn't he, Abu Jahl, know that the source, Allah, Yara, sees all things? Nevertheless, if he, Abu Jahl, continued to hinder others, we, Elohim Anunnaki, will verily drag him by the Nasiya, forelock, by the lying Kafiya, hair of his forelock. So let him, Abu Jahl, call out to his supporters. We shall call Nadu'al, Zabaniya. No, not Jabaniya, Zabaniya. All right, so the Elohim Anunnaki who guards over hell. Nevertheless, Muhammad, don't obey him. Abu Jahl, Aju, prostrate yourself and draw closer. Surika Alahum El Azim. So that wraps up chapter 1. So I know we at least got a feel for what the Quran, El's Holy Quran, actually reads like, and where we're coming from with the translation. And usually during the day last year we would read El's Holy Torah in the Interfaith Tribunal, because when we come together in the tribunal, like I say, we are a royal court. So we need to actually understand El's Holy Torah, El's Torah, which is the law. We need to understand these ancient laws that goes in alignment with the treaties, the covenant, and the commandments that we just went over here tonight. And it continues all the way down to the Imperial Divan or Divine, or the mission of expanding and teaching the everlasting gospels to the sons of man. And that everlasting gospel is the book of Revelations, continuing on with the El's Holy Quran. So El's Holy Quran is just expansion of El's Holy Injiyl. So how can we teach the everlasting gospels and make it, make it clear and give clear vision if we do not touch on El's Holy Quran and go into the in-depthness of what's being conveyed through the book of Revelations, through El's Holy Injiyl? So this is why Christians, Muslims, and even Judahites, and we just read that there was a treaty, not treaty, but a covenant that was given between the Judites and the Israelites. And Israelites and Judah is one of the tribes of Israel. So Judah was given an everlasting covenant through the Israelites. So the Israelites have the leading tribe, which is the Judites, and then you have the spiritual Judites, which is the Levites. That is the priesthood of all of the tribes. That is the priesthood tribe. They're not actually all from just one tribe in the Bible. So when you go over these covenants, you understand that, okay, wow, you have the Labo, which is the bridge in between the Judites and the Levites. So then you have that priesthood who represents the whole nation as a whole. We are a priesthood nation, and you have that everlasting covenant between the Judites, who ended up becoming what you call the Jews, who ended up becoming what you call Judea, and what you modern day, in these days and time, you call the tribes of Yoruba, or the people of Yoruba. And now we have the culture called Ife and Ifa. So when we look at the succession of things, we can get the clarity, because the scriptures took real stories from indigenous peoples and then put it into what we call the Bible. So you have the real scriptures that was tainted, changed with grammatical errors and things like that, and then put into the Bible. But we will never get to these points if we don't have someone to really make it clear what we actually reading, what we actually going over, what we actually studying. Because now you got all of the different sectism, you got all of the different sects, you got all of the different people, the different faiths, different backgrounds, different beliefs, that causes all of the noise, that causes all the confusion. We can't get to the same page. So this is why I went and done the bulletins, so that way we could see clearly and understand the ecclesiastical decrees, the royal decrees that are able to be enforced by us as a temple people. Because we go out forgetting that if we want to enforce law, all we got to do is operate through our chairman and our grand sheiks. And if we want to take something and put it into Americans' jurisprudence or jurisdiction of law, then we become politically active. Like I mentioned last Holy Day, become politically active. So with that, I want to open it up for current events, because I'm sure some things out there that we need to go over, and there's some things y'all want to bring to the floor. So what is it that y'all have on y'all mind? Talk to me. The floor is open. And then after that, we're gonna go into our holy instructions on joining the temple. But anything y'all feel that we should address, to talk about, please don't feel afraid to unmic. I'm sure y'all not, but uh, let's talk about it. What's going on out there in the world? What's happening in the street? As the youngsters would say. What's the 411? right, y'all want to just jump straight into the holy instruction? We ain't got no current events y'all seeing going on. Nothing going on in y'all local areas that y'all want to discuss. Y'all some time to come back to the mic.
I've just been buried in tutorials online lately. I mean, there's just a lot of information and technology is kind of hitting that point where an individual can get real creative and have a lot of fun with it. So I don't know what people be out there. There's a lot of news going on. Like you just said it best. There's just so many people with so many different voices. Nothing's really. It's just a bunch of white noise that needs to come into something musical. Also, I was thinking about like I don't know if a lot of people know how our energy system grid works, but like it's really archaic. I mean, people be buying and selling energy and just shooting energy from one point to the next. And I'm seeing a lot of people getting into sound design, and I see like the future where there's a lot more equalization going on with our energy grid, even, where there's actual a more of a symbiotic relationship with our energy use and progressions. But we have to have a foundation that is for that piece. So yeah, just stay in tune, keep them with it.
True
Thank
believe.
you.
I like what you mentioned right there because that is a great point. Kind of take me back to what me and Her Majesty was talking about earlier. It's about us just developing, and we know we have that inherited project from the ancestors. So that is a great point, especially creating mutual symbiotic relationship with our energy, our ecology, our environment around us, and really understanding nature and how nature really actually works, and not from the standpoint of just being told something, but actually thinking for ourselves and really, really thinking about that. So I really appreciate you, Brother Jonathan, for that contribution because most people do not understand energy, how it works, especially when we pay for lights and electricity, gas bill, things of that nature, and not understanding sound and how sound incorporates into expressing energy, and electricity and all those different things, as far as frequencies and waves, and how they incorporate into light. How a sound wave turns into light, and the relationship that we have with that, especially with the frequencies that they have people on with the music, in the music world, music industry, and things like that. So, I definitely feel you because us as templates, us as peacemakers, our head should be, in tune and in the direction of peace. But like I said, we should be politically active. We should know still at the same time what is taking place in politics. I did see brother uh I don't think it was brother Raheem that shared that, but I did see some uh some things that was taking place with Biden. He took it upon himself to take a visit to a black church, which was spread all over Instagram, which was a little funny. But um also I seen a video just right before we opened up Holy Day, like a couple hours right before it, that Biden at a I don't know if it was at a World Economic Forum meeting or what actual United Nations meeting it was actually at, but Biden just mentioned New World Order all over again, and I think this was something that just happened recent. I think they really are driving home the fact that we got to stand on what's being pushed towards us. We have to stand up, take political action, or like the prophets say, which we're gonna go over that again, the literature, we're gonna be pushed into be, beast of burden. And this is what we just mentioned earlier and we read over earlier, that we have been, turned into chattel property, slave property, cattle. So In order to redeem ourselves, we have to become politically active. And uh, you know, really getting into the messages of the prophet about being politically active, you know, it puts us in a space of civil little more too if we not becoming, politically active. So this is why, we do open up the space for current events, especially about the things that's happening around us politically. Because, like I mentioned earlier, uh not, even if you're just a member, the prophet was saying you want to be politically active, especially as I mentioned last holy day, all of the leaders, the sheiks, they are politicians in some form or fashion. You're helping people change their political status. That is what we're propagating. That is, like I said earlier, the redemption is not just the spiritual thing. It also has to deal with the physicality of us as a people and our independence, our sovereignty, especially in our civic, in our nationhood. Because you can have the Pastor Pork Chop, as the master teacher would say, you can have Pastor Pork Chop sitting at the top of the podium talking about your spiritual redemption with God. The Most High is the sovereign. True. Yes, indeed. Agreed. But are we following the divine creed and ordinances and statutes and codes, not of these politicians on these these secular laws and things like that, but are we following the ordinances, statutes, and codes of the Most High? Because if we're not exercising our political sovereignty and our sovereignty, period, especially the sovereignty that was given to us through the fetus trust that we have, the theocratic trust that we was given, the dominion that we was given, then we become the cattle, we become the goyim. But we're supposed to be the people. Now in the eyes of the Most High, we may be you know uh uh considered creatures too as well, because humans are animals as well too. But at the same time, we were the ones that were given dominion over the earth with the structure of us as humanoids, and you know that 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 structure to really use our brains and connect to the divine intelligence, the organs that we have, that that are spiritual organs for us to connect with higher frequencies. So if we going just off this understanding of Pastor Porkchop, then we're gonna forever be under subjugation. But if we wake it up and understand, like what we're talking about here tonight is the redemption. We're being redeemed, but we getting into the specifics at this point. We getting into the covenants that we're coming back into the redemption of. You're getting redeemed without equity. You're getting redeemed without money. You don't need money to step back into these divine and everlasting covenants. The Asiatic covenant, the Holy Covenant, and then the covenant of the flesh, the covenant of the promise, the covenant of life. Those covenants that we just went over, as well as uh the religious and divine creeds or ecclesiastical decrees that we given today, because we have a temple to stand on. You have a temple to stand on. You have a grand sheik here to make law. You become a chief of your tribe. You become the imam of your tribe, the one standing out front. Our people need somebody they could, come and, have convey the message to them properly. And like I say, we got to be politically active. So I'm gonna read chapter 1 from the prophet in the Holy Qur'an, circle 7, and then we're gonna jump into those holy instructions for tonight. Well, I'm gonna read chapter 1, Holy Qur'an, circle 7, and then we're gonna read the literature that I was just discussing about being politically active. Then we can jump into the holy instructions, because I want to, really harness in on that point about these resolutions, these ancient treaty resolutions, and why we need to understand, what's been established for us, especially when we say nucratic and what we mean by nucratic. Because when we say nucratic, we're talking about the jurisdiction of the divine mind, the jurisdiction of divine nature. So we have, um, academic and scholastic and colloquial resource and reference points to make reference to the jurisdiction that we're talking about, the global polity and jurisdiction that we're talking about. So we have a nucracy, a nucratic theocracy. I'm sorry. We have a nucratic theocracy. We have a nucratic theocracy, which means we are a global theocratic body politic under the jurisdiction of the global jurisdiction, the global dominion that was given to us as a people. Genesis 1:26. That's a commandment. So chapter 1 in the Holy Quran, circle 7, is called the creation and fall of man. And it reads, time never was when man was not. If life of man at any time began, a time would come when it would end. The thoughts of Allah cannot be circumscribed. No finite mind can comprehend things infinite. All finite things are subject unto change. All finite things will cease to be because there was a time when they were not. The bodies and the souls of man are finite things, and they will change. Yeah, from the finite point of view, the time will come when there will be no more. But man himself is not a body, is not the body, nor the soul. He is a spirit and a part of Allah. Creative fate gave to spirit man, a soul that he might function on the plane of soul. Gave him a body of the flesh that he might function on the plane of things made manifest. Why did creative faith give to spirit man a soul that he might function on the plane of soul? Why did creative faith give to soul a body of the flesh that he might function on the plane of things that are made manifest? Hear now ye worlds, dominions, powers, and thrones. Hear now ye cherubim, ye seraphim, ye angels, and ye men. Hear now, O protoplasm, and earth, and plant, and beast. Hear now ye creeping things of earth, ye fish that swim, ye birds that fly. Hear now ye winds that blow, yea, ye thunders, and ye lightnings of the sky. Hear now ye spirits of the fire, of water, earth, and air. Hear now, O everything that is, or was, or evermore will be. For wisdom speak from out of the highest plane of spirit life. Man is a thought of Allah. All thoughts of Allah are infinite. They are not measured up by time, but things are concerned with time, began and end. The thoughts of Allah are the everlasting of the past unto the never-ending days to come. And so is man, the spirit man. But man, like every other thought of Allah, was but a seed that held within itself the potencies of Allah, just as the seed of any plant of earth holds deep within itself the attributes of every part of that special plant. So spirit man, a seed of Allah, held deep within himself the attributes of every part of God. Now, seed now the seeds are perfect. Yeah, as perfect as the source from which they came, or which they come. But they are not unfolded into life made manifest. The child is as perfect as the mother is. So man, the seed, must be deep planted in a soil that he might grow. Unfold as does the bud unfold to show the flower. The human seed that come forth from the heart of Allah was fully ordained to be the Lord of plane of soul and of the plane of things made manifest. So Allah, the husbandman of everything that is, threw forth his human seed into the soil of soul. It grew apace, and man became a living soul, and he became the Lord of all the kingdom of the soul. Hark now, let every creature hear. The plane of soul is but the ether of the spirit plane vibrating, not so fast, and in the slower rhythm of this plane, the essence of life are manifest. The perfumes and the odors, the true sensations, and all of love of made are manifest. And these souls attributes becomes a body beautiful. A multitude of lessons man must learn upon the plane of soul. And here he tarries many ages until his lessons are all learned. Upon the boundaries of the plane of soul, the ether began to vibrate slower still, and then the essences took on a final guard. The perfumes and the odors and the true sensations and all the love and the all of love were clothed in flesh, and man was clothed in flesh. Perfected man must pass through all the ways of life, and so a carnal nature was full manifest, a nature that sprang forth from fleshly things. Without a foe, a soldier never knows his strength, and a thought must be developed by the exercise of strength. And so this carnal nature soon became a foe that man must fight, that he might be the strength of Allah made manifest. Let every living thing stand still and hear. Man is the Lord of all the plane of manifest, of protoplasm, of mineral, of plant, of beast, but he never gave up his birthright. Justify just to gratify his lower self, but man will regain his lost estate, his heritage, but he must do it in a conflict that cannot be told in words. Yet he must suffer trials and temptations manyfold. But let him know that cherubim and seraphim that rule the stations of the sun and spirit of the mighty Allah, who rule the solar stars, are his protectors and his guide, and they will lead to victory. Man will be fully saved, redeemed, perfected by the things he suffered on the plane of flesh and on the plane of soul. When man has conquered carnal things, his garb of flesh will then have served its purpose well, and it will fall, and it will fall, will be, and its fall will be no more. Then he will stand untrammeled on the plane of soul, where he must full complete his victory. Unnumbered foes will stand before man upon the plane of soul. These he must overcome. Yeah, overcome them. Yeah, overcome them. Everyone. Thus hope will be his beacon light. There is no failure for the human soul, for Allah is leading on and victory is sure. Man cannot die. The spirit man is one with Allah. And while Allah lives, man cannot die. While man has conquered every foe upon the plane of soul, the seed will have fully opened out, will have unfolded in the holy breath. The garb of soul will then have served its purpose well, and man will need it nevermore, and it will pass and be no more, and man will then attune unto the blessedness of perfectedness and be one with Allah. Islam. So I wanted to read that to us tonight so we really understand why I'm coming with the point, spirit delivering the point of, the divine creeds, the covenant, the examples that we're supposed to set here every week. So let's jump into these holy instructions, because I made it clear as cut as can be why we don't need the sovereign citizen, processes, get caught up in these things, uh, especially with all the status changing things and all that. We need to operate as a royal court, administrative bodies, councils, and stand on the principles of the nation. We have the sovereign theocratic government. We have the sovereign theocratic nation as a people. So as a sovereign theocratic government, we need to come together and get our different parts and bodies, instrumentalities, agencies, etc., all of the divine and national movement, get it together. We are the Asiatic nation of the American nation. So that includes all of the people of the ancient and far east wisdom. So, you know, even when we go back to, things on an extraterrestrial level, because, if we going back further enough, we understand that we had, pyramids all over the planet, above the water, under the water. Some of the pyramids are actual laboratories, some of them are actual temples. So let's dive into these holy instructions. I'm about to change the link at the top of the room here, y'all. Y'all click on that link, read along with me, especially those that are already enrolled. You'll be able to see what I'm actually reading. If not, go ahead and enroll in the school, become an official member, and get prepared to come back Sunday so we can answer all your questions, especially about the Civics 101 course. Why, it's best to become a temple civilian, and learn how to uphold yourself as a faithful civilian of the Moorish Temple of America, and then understand what it means to be a citizen of the world. As you learn your civic 101, you learn world civic. You go through understanding the principles that this country and this nation was founded upon, understanding your own backyard first, what's in your own backyard first, and then or what's in with yourself, because you can't change the world till you change yourself. So the land with borders is for those that need, just like a baby. You gotta put that little what's that little thing called when you block the baby off? You put the baby in the put the little baby behind the thing so they can't get out. Some of them be jumping over. Some of the babies be jumping over it. You know,
The little gate. Talking about the
yeah,
gate.
the baby gate. I don't know what they call it, but or if it's a specific name for it, but the little baby gates that they have, you know, that's what those borders for. Those imaginary borders, that's what that's for. Understand yourself first. Understand what's in your own backyard first. Understand your civics 101. First as a temple civilian. And then you will understand the power that you can tap into with your global nationality, yourself as a world citizen. And you become a citizen of the entire earthland, the Urdu, Tiamat, Ta, and understand properly the dominion that you were given over the earth. But you can see the bigger picture, but first you gotta be able to walk through those layers. You gotta peel back those layers first. And you do that by going through your civics 101. Every assignment and lesson is a blog. So you have the opportunity to build your own portfolio, showing that you understand. You have the opportunity to build your own thesis. You take all those writings from those lessons and start to compile your thesis. And especially once we get the university together with the other the other classes in the, like I was breaking down, we have the liberal arts in the university. So you give yourself that momentum. It's based on you as a person. You go in there. Once you get done with Civics 101, you start enrolling into the other course. We got the World Currency 101, which is another free course that you would take, and then you learn how to set up a business. You learn about Bitcoin and Bitcoin smart contracts and the currencies that we have in our community. You start to participate and learn the power that we have and the precedence and the footing that we have in this new industry. Because if we're going to build a safer environment, because while they're destroying this one, we should already be getting ready to build the next one. The end of one dynasty is the beginning of another. And we got to be prepared, because if they still talking about the new world order coming and it's already been here, like we don't know that, we losing the boat. But they put out all the fear mongering. Like I said, we got to become politically active. We got to get involved, especially with communicating what's being put out there into the airwaves, and understand the power that we as the anointed people have. Come in and join yourself with the family of nations. We are those saints. We represent that holy family. That is us as a people. We're not a religious fanatic group. We're the people of the book. So we represent those biblical tribes, those ancient tribes. But you'll know which tribe you're a part of the more you start to read. So you go from your civics 101, become a minister. You can go from a minister to an adept, and then further up the ladder, whatever you choose to do. But we have things in place for us as a people, especially a spiritual program, a non-dimensional spiritual program to start the healing of our people, as me and Her Majesty was talking about earlier. We understand the science of the Nebuah, the prophet. We just read about that. We just went over that. What these prophets were given agreements and covenants and fiduciary and stewardship duties over. The trust, the covenants that were put in place. So we went over our civic virtues, which is our customs and our cultivation of our customs, our habits, where they come from. We even went even deeper into that tonight, especially with going into El's Holy Qur'aan and just reading this last chapter we just read, chapter 1 in the Circle 7 Quran. Because we can't stay stuck in just one of the scriptures. We got to be able to make cross references and still read all of the scriptures, but you do that on your own time, especially y'all that need to be coming, start becoming ministers, especially if you plan on joining the Royal Council and being, active. But as part of the Royal Council, you got to be active in something, especially a part of this particular Royal Council, because we're not just gonna be like the old, as our Grand Sheik just put recently on his social media, old heads, it's time to sit down. Let the youngsters take lead. It's time. Our Grand Sheik had a problem with that. It's time. It's time, and especially with this particular temple, we're the temple that issued the currency for the nation, for the government. So our currency is one of the actual official central bank digital currencies, because we have the world central bank, our own. We have our own world credit, our world credit union, our own community credit union. We have our own world treasury. But these things cannot be done alone. So somebody's got to take up these different skill sets. This is why, like I said, we're doing what we're doing to step our game up this year. This is why our focus will be creating that cooperative spirit, because and building up that cooperative spirit, because it's already there. We just got to build the spirit up. It's been established by the works that have been done in continuation of the works of the prophet, the master teacher, C.M. Bay, H.I.M. Bay, etc. Islam. So we went over our civic virtues tonight. Like I said, we went in debt, more in debt. Um, we also talked about the civic engagement, which is us coming together to address, you know, current events, political issues, and other things like that of public concern. And eventually, when we like I said, it's good that we have a small group, but when eventually when we get big enough, we got more people in here. There's gonna be things that people want to address. Well, hey, what about such and such and such and such and such and such? Because we got to start addressing it, especially like what I said with Biden just recently mentioning the New World Order thing, and you know, that just sounded more like a signal for us that really the new Ethiopian order, the actual order that's coming into effect on this planet, we have to get prepared to move, because we know that everybody's starting to see through the shit show. Excuse my friend. Everybody's seeing through it at this point. We know what's being presented, what's presenting itself. So we have to take the signals and the call, especially us as ministers. Especially, like I said, if you're gonna be getting into the in-depthness of this, because if you're gonna take up that responsibility, you have to have the ability to respond. So, like it's like we just read, a soldier has to go through things to learn how to be a better soldier, especially if we're building and establishing the army of God, which is one of our mission statements. Don't necessarily mean we're gonna be a belligerent army of people. We're not a Martial. We're not martial. We practice martial arts, but we're not a martial army. That's for sure. We practice the discipline arts of combating those other things, especially Tai Chi. But you know, to pick up these weapons, that double-edged sword, which is symbolic of learning how to communicate the languages and the scriptures that the specific scriptures that we're going over, the Hebrew and the Arabic, and understand it with clarity. So when people come into these rooms, especially our outside congregational guests, and they coming from different faiths and walks of life, we able to deliver a universal message. We able to deliver an indigenous, spiritual, ancient, and divine creed message to our people, so they can see clear that we're not the religious fanatics. They can see clear, oh, we do need to be associated with Islamicism, with the great law of peace of the Iroquois nation, because that's who we are, the Cherokee tribal nation, etc. And like I said, if you got a tribe, you want to put your tribal name on the Moorish Parliament roll, and in a list of accredited nations, kingdoms, and empires. Go ahead and get involved. Join the network. Reach out. Communicate. Let's get the work done. So that's a part of the civic engagement. It's the communication, getting together and having these discussions, engaging with each other. And especially like we went over a couple holy days back. Go to the holytemples.org. Go to the Holy See tab, and then go to the World Parliament on the under the Holy See list, and scroll down and look at the Nucratic rules of order. Study those basic, simple rules of engagement, because we need to be making presentations and presentments and motions, putting them on the floor. Learn how to communicate with each other in a parliamentary kind of way. Show that we have, level of self-respect, self-dignity. We can operate as ambassadors, nobility, dignitary. We know how to function and communicate with each other, versus when we step on some of these some of these rooms on here, people be arguing and going back and forth with each other. Let me go over this before we get too late, because time is flying like crazy. But we understand Friday, which is Friday is the holy day, and this reference point is coming from the Holy Qur'an of Mecca, Surah 62, Ayat 9, verse not which is verse 9 through 10. And as it reads, it says, Friday is the holy day, O ye who knew, when the day is called, when the call is proclaimed, the supplication on Friday, the day of assembly, hasten earnestly to the remembrance of the Heavenly Father and Divine Mother, and leave off business and traffic. That is best for you if you but knew. And when prayer is finished, then may ye disperse through the land, seek the bounty of God, and celebrate the praises of God of 10, and without stint, that ye may prosper. We know all chaplaincy, temple services, and meetings are to be open and closed promptly, according to the Circle 7, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest, because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is our holy day for all Muslims and peacemakers all over the world. This is according to Act 2 of the Divine Constitution and Bylaws by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, which states all temples and subordinate temples are to conduct holy day service every Friday, starting promptly at their respective time and ending promptly at their respective time. All civilians, patrons, denizens, prospects, and ministers are expected to attend the temple for Friday holy day temple service and meeting. On the Fridays, the Moorish American, Moorish Asian, and Moorish African Muslims and peacemakers all come together to supplicate and illustrate that which Allah has blessed them with. The temple services are open according to divine love, true peace, freedom, and justice. At no time will Templars, adepts, ministers, patrons, or outside congregational guests be allowed to disrupt the holy day service, nor will civilians be admitted under the influence of alcohol or any severe intoxicant. All Templars, adepts, and civilians attending the holy day service must have their head covered with either a turban, fez, or kufi, or spiritual cover. Baseball caps should not be worn in the temple or during the temple service. The Sunday school temple service and meeting is mandatory, and all Moorish nationals, templars, and temple denizens must promptly attend the temple service and send their children to the Sunday school gathering, and the teacher must conform himself and herself to the temple one-on-one questionnaire. And let every civilian man, woman, and child exercise his or her five senses, who is able to do so, because out from your Sunday school comes the guiders of the nation, and now the entire globe. According to Act 5, of the additional bylaws by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, every subordinate temple should have 2 Sunday school gatherings held. The first meeting should be held 1 to 2 hours before the adult service. Children's Sunday school should be conducted by a directors of the Children's Sunday School and program. The Sunday school gathering is designed to assist the temple in learning the temple one-on-one questionnaires and developing an understanding of just what these holy keys mean and how they are to be applied to our everyday lives. The Divine Constitution and Bylaws, along with the Moorish Prayer, the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nation, El's Holy Injiyl, El's Holy Qur'aan, and the civic lessons of the Holy Temple of Moorish Science are also subjects of major concern for the apprentice who is trying to complete his or her mandatory requirements for pronouncing their temple civilianship and global nationality. All lessons for the adult Sunday school gathering must be prepared by a Grand Sheik, a divine minister, or an assistant Grand Sheik. Lessons called by us Novite additions may be submitted to the apprentice for completion and returned to the temple. Once the lessons are completed and graded, they must be placed in the active members' temple district file. The Sunday school temple service and meeting is a wonderful opportunity to study the liturgy, teachings of the prophet. No civilian is to become disruptive during the Sunday meeting. All Templars must bring paper and pen to the temple service and meeting, along with the basic temple literature and assignment. No Templars or patron is to eat food or other snacks during the temple service or meeting, but water is permitted. All Templars must attend their Sunday temple service and meeting as diligently as they attend their holy day temple service and meeting. Both were called out for by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali and is required as a matter of temple law. According to the Divine Constitution, Act 7, in part, all Templars must promptly attend their temple services and meetings and become a part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America, and now also Moorish Science Temple of Africa, and Moorish Science Temple of Asia, and adjoining world islands on behalf of all indigenous people. For membership, any heads of all temple jurisdictions are not to charge for naturalization or to overcharge for cards, buttons, or anything issued by and through the Prophet. Those who contribute to any of the proceedings are not Moors, civilians, or patrons, but robbers. Temple nationality and membership in the Holy Temple's vast estate, public beneficiary trust, or public beneficiary trust, sisters and brothers, kin and kinfolk, is free, not only here, but all over the world. All kin and kinfolk desiring to become a civilian of a subordinate temple must read the message from the temple secretary and download the application for naturalization, which can be found on our holytemple.org website. The Secretary of the Temple jurisdiction will help all newcomers by explaining the naturalization affidavit and application for membership in the Temple's vast estate or public beneficiary trust to the new prospective civilians of the Temple's vast estate or public beneficiary trust, and arranging for him or her to be consulted by the Royal Council of said temple or subordinate temple. The royal chairman or woman will set the date for the new temple prospect to be interviewed by the Royal Council. The new temple court civilian, upon completion of the Royal Council's consultation at the newcomers gathering, Sunday school gathering, on Sunday, the new templars will proclaim their temple nationality at the next upcoming Holy Day temple gathering. After the civilian prospect proclaims his or her nationality, they will be given the mandatory requirements necessary to earn their free national name and royal title of nobility as a true American royal. These requirements are as follows, and in accordance with chapter 47 of the Moorish Circle 7 Holy Qur'an, called Egypt the Capital Dominion Empire of Africa, the Moorish Prayer, chapter 25 of the Moorish Qur'an, called the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nation, including the 101 Qur'an questions for Moorish Americans, Asians, and Africans, the divine constitution and bylaws, the additional laws, and the precepts, statutes, and ordinances from El's Holy Torah, El's Holy Injiyl, El's Holy Qur'an, the Holy Tabernacle Family Guide, and also the Holy Tablet, through our Civics 101 course in the Global Interdependent School District and Sacred Halls of Learning, which we call New University, for every one of the global village. Once a new civilian or template has learned these additions or lessons verbatim, or to the best of their ability, he or she will be interviewed by the Temple's Royal Council as the chaplaincy to determine if the new civilian is qualified to represent himself or herself as a faithful Moorish American, Moorish African, and Moorish Asian Muslim or any indigenous peacemaker, and communicated to the ignorant for their instruction, and communicated to the wise for thine own improvement. Once the new civilian or template has cleared the mandatory requirements with the Royal Council, he or she will be naturalized by the Grand Sheik and Divine Minister of the said subordinate temple. And that makes up the holy instructions right there for getting involved and becoming a civilian of the Moorish Science Temple of America. And proclaiming your nationality is real simple. It's not, that's clear cut. It's not all this paperwork status change stuff. You're going through what we're about to discuss next, which is the proclamation of your nationality, the pronunciation of your nationality, which we call the nationality procedure, or what they will call a baptismal, as we just read earlier and we went over earlier, or a shahada, same thing. It's the ceremony of you joining in the theocracy or theocratic government structure of that body politic. So let's read it further. And I want y'all to think about that, because even when the president becomes the president, he has to put his hand and swear on the Bible. So I just want y'all to think about these things. Islam. So the proclamation of nationality, procedure, and pronouncement of one's nationality will be held on a holy day for all denizens, templars, peacemakers, or Muslims all over the world. During the ceremony, the new civilian or templars will be ordained in El, Bay, or Day, and given his or her royal peerage title of Ken, Honorable, Lady, Nin, Naya, Lady, Noble, Nin, Naya, Prince, or Princess, by a Grand Sheik and or Divine Minister, and also receive his or her nationality card and button from the Divine Minister of the Grand Major Temple. Upon conclusion of the nationality proclamation, the Grand Sheik and Divine Minister will have the civilian, templars, and temple prospect stand while he or she reads the authority of the Moorish Science Temple of America. It is by virtue of the Religious Corporation Act document that can be found in Herod's revised statute that gives the Moorish Science Temple of America, Asia, and Africa the authority to restore the nationality and birthrights of the lost Asiatics of America, Asia, Africa, and all world islands, and give them the title to their vast estate and their heritage. The Grand Sheik or Divine Minister is to read from the card and have the new national state, Allah is God, and Noble Drew Ali the Prophet, and I am Moorish American, African, or Asian, and or world islander. This is our Moorish clarification of faith, or Shahada, and our national pledge of allegiance. The new civilian or Templars free national name should then be added to the Temple's Book of Life as they enroll in the Civics 101 course and World Civics Club, which is a part of joining that Civics 101 course. You automatically at the club. So as we grow, those that are in the club get to, interact with other colleges that are participating in the World Citizens for World Government movement. So the nationality procedure should be conducted by the Grand Sheik and Divine Minister or any other Divine Minister so designated by the Grand Sheik and Divine Minister in his or her time of absence, and most notably by the Assistant Grand Sheik and Divine Minister. The nationality card and naturalization application must be signed bearing the name and title of the Grand Sheik or Divine Minister who issued the application and card and the date of his issue. The Religious Corporation Act has deemed the Global Interdependent School District and the Incorporated and Chartered Moorish Science Temple of America, Africa, and Asia as a religious trust and theocratic government established in 1928 on August 20th. This religious trust is the true global trusteeship system for the Holy Family of Nations, forming the global true people. True people. So it's real clear cut that we don't have to deal with paperwork status change stuff. Now that these sermons are actually on YouTube and we want to inform our people, you can just take the link and share it. Because me and the brother Honorable Raheem, we was discussing, how some of the Grand Sheik participate in some of these things behind closed doors, and like our grandman said, who ordained us and gave us the charter to be branch temple number 24, and our our subordinate temples that we have and established and developing as we go. He stated that it's time to get the old heads out the way because all they listening to is how they sold out, while we got our own treasury. We got a treasury, and this particular temple is establishing the treasury for us as a global nation of people. We have the certifications in it. I as a Grand Sheik have certifications in it, and getting more as I go, and trying to pass this olive branch and this baton, pass it along so we all could participate in what the prophet made sure that we had to understand is if we don't have a nation, we don't got nothing, y'all. I'm sorry, if we don't got a treasury, we don't got nothing. So those instructions are clear cut. Let's jump into the closing literature from the prophet. We touched on some things today. Hope that message resonates with y'all. I know it does because it came. I know it does with me because it came through me. And the divine say touch on this, so I'm gonna touch on what they tell me to touch on. But you got to get some insight because mainly we don't get a chance to jump around in the Circle 7 Holy Quran as much as I want to, but because we're delivering a universal message here. But we will be diving more into the different passages, especially when we get into these conversations about the different prophets, about the avatars, and their history, because a lot of Christians don't understand. They're worshiping Krishna, and we got to wake it up. So even some of the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, they be dogging out, so-called Jesus Christ because, there is a character that was created after the likeness of the true Messiah, which is Yahshua HaMashiach, and we're followers of the Messiah, like I mentioned last Holy Day, or I think it was either Newcomers Gathering, but we are not what they would classify as Christian. We are the Karastians, the anointed ones, but That's because we follow the practices and wisdom of Pa Masa, which is the Messiah, and that's the ancient Egyptian way of saying the Messiah, Pa Masa. So let's get into these messages from the prophet and get into our closing statements. The prophet wanted to, give this message to the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Islam. The prophet say this is instructions from your prophet Noble Drew Ali. The prophet says, "Be faithful unto your forefathers' divine and national creed, that you will be blessed for your good deeds that you sow in the flesh. Allah is the one that judges the world, and his judgment is now on, but the weak can comprehend it not. The end of time is drawing near, so says Allah, to his divine prophet, I, Noble Drew Ali, and that's why many hearts have been turned to stone and many eyes to see, but cannot see, ears to hear, but cannot hear. Least they would be confounded of their sin. These are the trying hours now, dear Moors, and every evil spirit is moving, and they're trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid, and to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. But if you have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your forefathers, you fear not what you hear or see, but will sacrifice the utmost of your very life to protect your movement and your prophet. Watch your enemies, dear Moors. Your enemies are the ones that speak against your prophet and ridicule him to the very lowest, and the ones that speak against your divine and national principles of your temple. Act accordingly, and Allah will bless you for your good work. True peace, your divine prophet. Overdraw. So Prophet was saying, man, we in the last days. Put your zeal on, put your shield on, put your armor on. Like we were saying. That is one of our mission statements. To understand that we are the army of the Most High. We are the army of God. We are those seraphim angels, and we rounding up the troops, the Gadites. Time to get ready. This is not a spiritual. I mean, this is not a physical war. This is a spiritual war. What they call it jihad in the Qur'an. This is things that are going on without words. There's things issues and things I done been in without even words being shared. So let's get into this next message from the prophet. And this is just the prophet speaking to the nation, not just us as a nation, but all the nations. And you can include the kingdoms and the empire. So with that, let's go in. The prophet say, if you have race pride and love your race, join the Moorish Science Temple of America and become part of this divine movement. Then you will have power to redeem your race, because you will know who you are and your forefathers were. Because where there is unity, there is strength. Together we stand, divided we fall. Come, good people, because I, the prophet, sent to redeem this nation from mental slavery, which you have now, need every one of you who think that your condition can be better. This is an open field to strong men and women to uplift the nation and take your place in the affairs of men. If the Europeans and other nations are helping me, why not you? It is your problem, the Negro problem. It's being solved only as it can, and that is by the Moorish National Divine Movement. If you have a nation, you must have a free national name in order to be recognized by this nation as an American citizen. This is what was meant when it said, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all these things will be added unto you by the prophet. So, as we close out here, and all the things we went over, this is why we kept bringing up the script, because we got to hit them back, you know, with the poison that was given to our people, like an antidote, or or a real vaccine, because that's what a vaccine is. It really is. It's just the virus or whatever it is it's a dead version of that. Version of that virus or that virus infection, so that way your immune system can fight it off. So this is what we have to build up for our people so they can step back into their ancient and divine creed. Because if we know, like I said and mentioned earlier, these these scriptures were taken from other different places and sacred books that we went over and put into what they call the Bible. And now the Bible is made as law, right? So we got to stand on those ancient covenants within that Bible, within that, or those ancient covenants that make up the scriptures within that Bible. And then you have the ancient customs and laws that those covenants stand on and those covenants come from. So with that, let's get into the divine message, y'all. And then we're going to get into the last content. Night. So with that, let me go ahead and change the link at the top. So for those that want to join, can join our Patreon as a royal patron, member of the royal audience. Even for those that start to come in and be in the audience, listen to these sermons, and we start to build up the royal council, because that's the end goal. Us is to build up our council, our royal court. But we want to make sure we got intelligent people. We got active Moors. You want to be around active Moors, like I say, people that are active, people that are consistent, showing up, as best as they can every week. And if we gotta, create jobs, things like that, create projects, so that way you can clear up your time, then that's what we need to be discussing. That's what we need to be talking about. Economic. Me, Raheem, Her Majesty, typically me and Brother Brian. These are things that we tackling. We finding ways to bring back, economics to our jurisdiction. So that way, when it comes to Friday and being able to have time on Friday, you got time. You got time to be here for Holy Day. You're not worried. Not to make, schedule things on 6 o'clock on Sunday, 6 o'clock on Friday. Now, you can miss the Monday and the Wednesday. And this Monday we coming with the blogs for the Ramesses Social Media Club. So we about to be going to work on Monday. Especially those that'll be, working with me in the family office, me and Brother Honorable Raheem, and the things that, we getting ready to do. And Her Majesty, me and her bouncing ideas back and forth, things that, we already have in place. So, especially, nobles like Brother Brian, y'all can get involved on Mondays and Wednesdays, because at 6 p.m. Monday and Wednesday, we got the other room, we got the social media room, the Ramesses Social Media Club. Well, we need to be opening up that room and talking about business, building that cooperative business spirit, like the prophet said for us to do. So let's get into these last warnings. Well, first I need to read that, because that just reminded me. I need to get it in with that real quick. Make sure we put that on the record, because we did go over that. The literature about political slavery from the prophet. It's not that long, so the prophets say, anytime a man or woman fails or refuses to cast a sacred ballot at the polls, they separate themselves from all right of an American citizen. But surely this is the one connecting medium for a citizen to his nation. they become no more than belated beasts of burden. There are reasons why certain classes who are more or less independent take no part in politics, since they say they get nothing out of such in the way of material gain. This is no less than a political slave, since they refuse to voice their sentiments at the polls. Another form of political slavery, which is probably more prevalent among the less independent class, is that of being forced into one of the major parties and their bribed, coerced, or otherwise forced to vote the wishes of someone else, regardless of their own mind. Because there can be great, before there can be general relief for the economic good of all forms of political slavery must be abolished, and every citizen must take his part in the affairs of the nation. So this is why we come together to discuss these current events. Uh, we do have the Democratic political party. We do have an FEC number. So we need people that come in, especially those that are members of the Royal Council, get politically active, even at just the basic ministerial level. And we have a financial fund of funds. We have a sovereign wealth fund. It's not many other temples who are structured the way we structured, and we just starting out. We ain't even 2 years in. Talk to me. I'll talk back. Now the ministry might be a little bit longer, but you know, my footprint with the ministry it's in the thick of it. We're in the thick of it with the ministry. But now it's time to build this royal council up and show us as the American royal people. We are the American royal family. Because we know we got the Asiatic royal. We know we got the African royal. You got the European royal. But where is the American royal family showing themselves for? We are the Atlantean royal family of Atlantis that extends from here, North America, or the whole continent of America, all the way back over there to West Africa. So, and we read that, and that was been affirmed by the prophet. It's also affirmed in the scripture and in other ancient and sacred texts. So let's get into the messages from the prophet. Let's close it out. And this is to be read in every temple service and meeting. The prophets say, I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical speeches while at work, in their homes or on the street. We're for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your card at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings toward the temple or the prophet, or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement, will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deed. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in the card and button, cease wearing the turban and fast, and return to the state where the prophet found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Drew Ali. And if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet therefore is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. True peace, Noble Drew Ali. So before I go into this last message, we waking our people up. So that means we got to activate these chakras. So that's why we had a meditation. That's why we make sure we meditate while we listening to the sermon. And then we're gonna be getting into more deeper things with that. But this is why we're gonna be going into reading the actual El's Holy Quran and those other scriptures that it leads us into, because especially with understanding that Islam and Christianity are not the biggest religions on the planet. When you have Hindu, which you have the Hindu religion, as well as the Buddhic religion, or the Taoism, which is actually an ancient African culture and religion that actually came out of ancient Egypt, and that's a part of the ancient way of life for ancient Egypt. So we're gonna be getting into these things because we're here to you know bring together and do the calling for that spiritual group of people that is gonna do the work. Spirit man, not the physical man that want to be caught up in the traditions of man and hadiths of man. So this won't be, a second go round of us going over through all these religious controversies that the master teacher had to deal with, that the prophet had addressed. We're not going through all that. We have what we need. We don't have to go back and rewrite El's Holy Torah. We don't have to go back and rewrite or retranslate El's Holy Injiyl. We have what we need to address all those issues. We even have the Book of the Dead translated by the master teacher. Now it's time for the actual grounded spiritual work. Who's gonna help and get out here and practice the Quranic disciplines and teachings and really come together. We come together and do our Tai Chi. We come together and do our meditation. Really meditate together and go and conquer these things that we have to accomplish. So, please understand this is not a religious fanatic group, as we say. We calling the many that are called that have the spiritual sense of things, but just being spiritual ain't cut. What type of spiritual are you? We're looking for them people that are trying to be wholesome, spiritually wholesome, not spiritually deviant. Because you can tap into your spiritual, but that don't mean you spiritually wholesome. Islam. All right, so this is to be proclaimed at every temple service and meeting. Islam. The prophet say, I'm glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There's a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation that claim that I was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me so they may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that paid their divine respect to me and the movement will be remembered. That is why I am calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without me, the prophet, being head. It has been proven by my works, which I have performed in the past few years. Prophet Noble Drew Ali. One prophet, one temple. The whole entire Moorish Science Temple of America, all the L's and bays with all their wills and ways is included in it. So with that, y'all, we're gonna go into the prayer. Before I do the prayer, anybody wanna make any last contributions, any last shares, anything like that? Before we go into the prayer and close it out. Y'all some time to come back to the mic.
Yeah, that was awesome day, holy day. I just wanted to make mention. You mentioned, something to bring people together on. I know hemp has been kind of popping back up in the news feeds about how it has 2,000 different uses and all the different things people can do with it. But there's a lot of people who have a lot of different resources all over the world at this point, and there's also a level of responsibility with the plant. And people are in different places on their knowledge of it, and so I feel like the older generations, the elders who are kind of looking at the younger generations, instead of being pushed out, should start seeing how they can really align with the younger generations, and we can find a level of respect for one another, with the plant. And from what I've participating, from what I've been hearing is this is the path to do that. So
Islam. Yeah, it most definitely is time for us to get into not just hemp, but other, resourceful things in the land. And that's a part of the economics that we gotta participate in. And with the technology that we have, we can't avoid the economic that we have the opportunity to kind of raise the bar on. So especially with all the YouTube and Instagram and the ways to really just make multi streams of income with without even barely straining your brain too much. So we want to be able to participate in that and take advantage of that, especially if we're going to participate in those things, because as we know, we have to come together with our smart cities and things like that. But we want to have an economical uh pivot for ourselves. And we know that hemp is one of those main things. So uh the 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 main things that we should be focused on, like I said, this year is us stepping our game up. And that's actually one of the things that the the one of the main things that me and uh the brother Raheem and others were working towards on some of the things from our end. But you have others like Her Majesty. She has a blog about him. But these are things that we should be working on projects for. And the reason why I say stepping our game up this year, because we have to start creating that leverage, that cooperative spirit. So it's things that we can come together on and participate. Like you said, this time you know, we are those chosen people for that season. And we know we're listening in, we're tapping in, we're tapping into divine spirit to get those messages. So, I definitely agree with you on that. And that's what I mean by paying attention to, the current events, because, a lot of laws are being changed, and, there's going to be a lot of political battles, especially about indigenous peoples or so-called minority people, being stuck in jail because of the hemp, and the laws that are changing, and the political actions that need to be taken because of that. So us as Moorish Americans, we have to take the plight up where we are getting involved and getting politically active in these things. So you know there's a lot that y'all can help me with. The help is definitely needed. The prophet needed finance. We, like I said, as a temple, we made sure we covered that. But now with this next level, we're gonna have to go into really building, what they call in the business world a board, but we would be the council. And we really have to make sure that council is economically sound, not just intelligently sound and spiritually sound, but spirit is occurring, and that's just a part of that spiritual cultivation. So that self-sustainability that we'll be developing this year, we're gonna be leveraging that. Is different things that we can do, and economic things that we can gamify, especially like with you, brother Jonathan, being more into the tech, and having time on your hand. There's things that that can be done. Like I said, even with brother Brian, we can gather up on Wednesdays and start really utilizing this platform that we have the opportunity here with, to do podcasts, take advantage of YouTube, take advantage of Instagram, instead of as much time as we spend on there, whether it's 3 hours a day, 6 hours a day, whatever, or even an hour a day. We need to be cultivating that time to not just be informed, but also to participate in the capitalization of the economics that's being built on there. So that allows us to sell products, shoes, clothes, hat, products that we can make out of hemp, and really look into the manufacturing of that, come together as a unit of people. It starts off small, but as we build up, the things that we have, like I said, it's good that we have the small remnant, but once we get big enough, we want to make sure that we have a tight knit circle of things. And like Brian already know, I'm only letting certain level of people with certain vibrations around me. I don't want to deal with a bunch of drama. People pleasing, a lot of things that I was doing while I was younger, it's going out the window. And I'm putting my time into more of the things that need to be done. Even though I have done a lot of work, that doesn't mean you know take a break for the next phase of things, especially with people trying to copy us and mimic us as best as they can, and act like they have the thick of it when it comes to the body of the work that we have, and what we presenting. Because what y'all learning and what we know, y'all will run laps around these people. And this is the year to build your confidence up. This is the year to build your communication up. This is the year to build whatever it is you need to work on, especially economic and finance and business wise, with financial literacy, etc. Let's get on it. That's what the Ramesses Social Media Club room is for, on Mondays and Wednesdays. Especially Mondays. I got I got a year. Me and Her Majesty been working on, like I said, bouncing ideas back and forth, and just piling up work for us ahead of time in the future. So, we're going to have to tackle these things. Don't feel afraid to come off the mic. Let your voice be heard. Um, and like I said, let's build this content. We're going to monetize the content. We're going to keep creating content. This is going on YouTube. And y'all can clip the actual parts of the different rooms and share it to Instagram and make an Instagram reel. We create all this original content and monetize it. And uh you won't even have to get out your pajamas during the day. And we already got books. I got books that I've authored over the years and other things like that. We got the fruit juices from the Divine Minister. We got Brother Raheem with with his merchant platform affiliation that he's working with. There's a lot of things that we got in the works and that we can market, we can promote, we can create different things for, and really build up the economy, not just for this branch temple, but the entire global divine and national movement. So, let somebody got any more contributions. I'm about to take us into the prayer and close us out. Two piece.
Peace. Well, I'm looking forward to content creating days. I'll tap in with you guys whenever you get that going. Maybe doing a little auditing, kind of see what you guys are doing, how the workflow is going, and put it into a good schedule. If it can be consistent when we're creating content or things of value, it'll be very easy to automate these things, therefore freeing up even more time. So, starting the co-work days on whatever day you guys choose would be great, so that we could get scheduling down and start automating some things and free up even more time so we can focus on some deeper things that we need to do as far as like buying land and things like that. So this would be great to get that going and put it on a schedule and put those things in the works. So this was a great build tonight. Happy holy day to everybody. Peace and blessings. And I'll see you guys on Sunday.
It's, just take heed to Monday and Wednesday. That'll be uh probably most likely the best time we'll be doing those things. And then we can all meet up in the Ramesses Social Media Club, because we're using that as a podcast for the family office. So, um, and then on Wednesday, we don't necessarily have to record the room. We can just open up the space and just keep it private between us. So if y'all click on my PTR and scroll through the groups that I have, you should see Ramesses SM Club, and just go ahead and click and join that, and just make sure all y'all in there, and we can get going. So, with that, anybody else want to make any last contributions, Brother Mo, or Brother Brian, anything? before we close out?
True peace, true peace. Yeah, I just had one contribution. Just wanted to say that the program with the Civics 101, that is very important, and also world currency and learning that information, because knowledge uh, is power. The more you know what route to go, what route not to go, and then once you apply that knowledge, we say that is wisdom, and then we can get more deeper into the lessons and the teachings of that knowledge and wisdom, and become uh, master adept students. And with that, I yield. Islam is.
Uh, yeah, most definitely. And you get to build up your own portfolio of work, especially your own blog, uh, assignments, basically a blog. With all the technology out there, it's not that complex to put together a professional blog, a scholastic looking blog, either or, and then use that later on in your work in your professional life. So, really appreciate that, Noble, especially with the World Currency 101, because you get a chance to learn how the ecosystem that we building as a community, as a global community, is going to function, and how we have a position that many people would love to be in and love to leverage, but we have it, and it's time to really step our game up this year. You got any closing remarks, brother Brian? If not, we go straight to the prayer. True peace.
I just wanted to wish everybody a happy new year. Make this the best year ever. Let's go in, go for your dreams and your heart's desire. That's all I wanted to say.
Islam. Thank you, brother. So
Welcome.
y'all y'all heard it live and fire. We ain't gotta have no resolutions for this year, but the point is, be a better you. Step your game up. Step the cookies up. That's what we working on. Especially those that know me for some years now. Y'all know I like to work, and I'm just getting back into that feeling. Got the feeling, and the James Brown spirit. Moving, and they're gonna be tasting piano with the next directions. A lot of people copied and didn't keep, maintain integrity and things like that. A lot of people gonna be mad at me with the changes coming. I can't hold us back. I hold back a whole global movement just because of one person's opinion and attitude, or their ego, especially. So with that, I appreciate all y'all. I want to give honors to the divine creator, Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, the Heavenly Father and Divine Mother, Anu and Anutum, Osiris and Aset, whatever name you want to describe them as. And I want to give honors to the Prophet, Noble Drew Ali. I want to give honors to the forerunner of the Prophet, Honorable Marcus Garvey. I want to give honors to the Messenger, Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I want to give honors to the brother who illustrated the Cloak of Destiny, which is C.M. Bay. I want to give honors to the brother that illustrated the Moorish paradigm, which is brother Hakeem Bay. I want to give honors to all of the original staff of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, brother C. Melon L. Also, I'm talking about brother E. Meliel and brother C. Kirkman Bay. I want to give honors to all of y'all that are here tonight with me, because y'all can be anywhere in the world, but y'all are here with me. I want to give honors to the gods and goddesses and their progenitor, which is brother Clarence 13X, who was also a member of the Moorish Science Temple of America, and the Nation of Islam. I want to give honors to brother Yahweh Ben Yahweh, brother Ben Ami, who also brother Yahweh Ben Yahweh, who attended the Nation of Islam as well. I want to give honors to the teacher of teachers, which is Dusa Ali, as well. And I want to give honors to the master teacher, the reformer, Dr. Malachi Z. York L., also known as Amanubi the Ruach Baka. So with that, y'all, let's get into this prayer. Let's close it out. Y'all have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful rest of y'all happy holy day. Um, really appreciate y'all for coming through and participating and communicating with the ancestors and the divine. Because on Fridays is a day to connect with the divine spirit, and that time that portal is open. So with that, y'all, let's get into the prayer. Y'all know how I go. 2 fingers up, 5 fingers up, facing the east, feet at a 45-degree angle. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day through His holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Amen. True peace, y'all. Why do?
Fly,